This is Atomic Shinobi, and today I'm going to narrate third and final part of What If Naruto Became a Devil in a Land of Waves. If you enjoy this video, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
As they were leaving Konohagakure's gates, Jiraiya turned to Naruto and said, "It's time that I trained you in one of the jutsus that your father was known for. The Rasengan." "Rasengan? Asked Naruto. Jiraiya took the time to call forth his chakra, and a light blue orb of spinning chakra materialized in his hand. "Yes, to perfectly get this jutsu down. We are going to divide into 3 steps. Once you mastered all of them, the end result will be this." "So that is the Rasengan?" Naruto pondered. Though it looks like it won't do damage on the outside, it can cause internal damage. Unlike the Chidori or Reikiri, which basically pierces through an opponent due to the chakra and the lightning element, the Rasengan is more like a grinder due to the swirling chakra. Jiraiya's next statement, "I will teach you the first step once we get into town," pulled Naruto out of his reverie. Asking, "So what is with the Akatsuki?" Naruto nodded. The elderly pervert's face turned gloomy and "The Akatsuki is a criminal organization of some sort. The criminal are primarily S-class shinobi. Missing nins from various villages, including our own. Orochimaru was once part of that group until he fled from it for the same reason that he is after Sasuke." "You mean that Itachi Uchiha is part of the Akatsuki?" "Yeah, my spy network has confirmed that he is part of the Akatsuki. Apparently there are 10 members. Their only purpose is to obtain the 9-tailed beasts. But I have not heard if they had sealed anything of them yet." "Well, this is going to be a bitch. I have 10 people on my ass plus a gay pedophile is out for revenge and I have to find all of the devil arms that my mother unsealed for a test. Could this get any worse?" The half-devil pulled out loose in response to a sudden rustle to Naruto's left. Similar to Dante's own, the figure possessed 2 black swords with crossbones on the hilt. However, the pommel was a double-faced skull with a point on top of its head. With a gravelly voice, the white-haired devil asked, "So you are the descendant of Sparta?" "So what if I am, Casper? It's easy enough. I will take your soul." Despite having 2 swords perilously close to his neck, poised to decapitate him, Naruto declared with assurance, "You couldn't have done it with Dante and you certainly can't with me." As Jiraiya approached, Naruto calmly remarked, "Jiraiya Sensei, this is family business. I will handle this." As he released him, the white-haired demon remarked, "Get your sword. I have no business in taking your soul without a good fight, descendant of Sparta." "Tell me, Casper, what is your name?" Naruto asked, nodding. "My name is Ball." "Well, then let's get started then." Ball smiled and launched a fierce attack with his twin broadswords after Naruto defeated Alistair, which was covered in blue lightning. After thwarting the twin attack, Naruto remarked, "Well, now this is getting interesting." Ball applied incredible force to bring Naruto to his knees. As he fought under the strain, Naruto thought, "Damn, he is strong. And his swordsmanship is amazing." Using his momentum to gain his bearings, the Namikaze raised his sword and positioned Alistair to cut Ball's torso. When Ball noticed this, he swiftly used one of his own swords to parry. Naruto questioned, "Who trained you to fight like this?" "My brother and I were trained by Sparta himself," the white-haired devil retorted. The Jinchuriki gasped. "So there is another one that is going to be after me as soon as I defeat you and take your soul." "Funny, that is supposed to be my line since I sense 3 more with Sparta's blood. So the legendary devil slayer Dante is still alive, Yes, now shall we get back to business?" Jiraiya sat in a tree and watched the 2 swordsmen engage in combat after Ball nodded. "It has been a while since I have seen a sword fight of great caliber like this." Despite that Naruto is at a young age, he is actually holding his own against that demon. Stinger. Black Hurricane. The 2 enemies were on opposing sides, and the 2 attacks collided in the center. Ball had a wound on his right shoulder plate, and Naruto's wound began to bleed from the side of his head, bringing his silvery blonde hair to his face. "Enough of this, Sparta," yelled Ball, tearing off the plate. "I will have your soul and finally gain power to rule in hell along with my brother Modius. My soul is my own. Every soul here is unique. Though I may carry a part of his soul, I am Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Sparta, Azure Drive." Ball instantly transformed into his true form and yelled, "Die!" at the Sparta. His green eyes filled every void, his teeth sharpened to a point, and then his skin turned gray. Naruto exerted himself more while thinking, his speed and strength have increased considerably. I have to be careful with him since he is trained by my ancestor himself. Note to self. Train more with Dante and Virgil. I am getting sloppy with my sword work." Ball's sword deflected Naruto's slash at his right side, and the White Devil reciprocated by thrusting the sword in his left hand into Naruto's side. Naruto's body was in terrible pain, and he gritted his teeth in agony. What the hell? Naruto was thinking and Ball was reading his thoughts. I laced my sword with holy water. The only thing powerful to harm demons or devils. Since you are only half human, it will not kill you, but only weaken you a bit. TCH, I thought you were honorable. I am, but this is a shinobi era and according to them, they are not honorable people. Naruto retrieved the sword from his side and dragged Alistair back, saying, but I am. Take this, Azure Dragon. The electric blast departed as a blue dragon as he swung down Alistair in a broad arc. In an attempt to defend himself, Ball was struck by the dragon. The electricity rushed through Ball's body, causing him to scream in agony. Naruto approached Ball as he was kneeling on the ground and attempted to slit him, but the white-haired devil leapt into the air and returned with his swords ready to kill him. Raising Alistair to pierce the center of his chest, Naruto smirked as he glanced up at him. Because of his descent, Ball was unable to avoid the blow. A small amount of the blood that Ball coughed up splashed onto his face. Fine job, descendant of Sparta, but now you face a difficult challenge, he replied weakly. And that would be my brother Modius. He will be the one to avenge my death and carry on my wish. Then I will give him what he wants. You were a good opponent, Ball, despite that you acted as a shinobi and a swordsman. I am sure that wherever Sparta may be, he is very proud of you. Take my soul, Naruto Sparta. I wish to see the world and be of some use to the descendant of my former master. After giving it some thought, Naruto declared, in respect of your request, I will do as you wish. Ball's body was engulfed in light, and the swords that fell on either side of him floated with him. The swords were struck by the two beams of light, which changed their color from coal black to ash gray. Are you all right, Naruto? Jiraiya approached Naruto. Naruto began to tremble. I will be as soon as my body heals up. Judging by the wound, it will take at least 2 or 3 days to heal up because of the holy water. It seems that its properties stop my instant healing, including the one with the Kyuubi chakra. A rustle of leaves was heard abruptly, followed by a man with waist-length black hair, the majority of which covered his right side of his face with bangs. His eyes are reddish brown, and his pointed ears are the most distinctive characteristic that made him a devil. Naruto said, May I help you, sir? The now-named Modius waved his hand over the ground and a pale red sword with a dragon's maw opened for the blade to emerge from the ground like his brother's, saying, My name is Modius, descendant of Sparta, and you killed my brother. Prepare to die. Jiraiya moved in front of Modius as he charged at Naruto, snatching the sword at its edge and severing his palm. Naruto, I want you to pay very close attention to the Rasengan. Here is a demonstration of its damage, he stated. With his hand, he created a whirling ball of blue chakra, which he then hurled at Modius's stomach. Jiraiya yelled, Rasengan, as it made contact and Modius's body started to rotate with it, propelling him backward into the trees with incredible force. After dressing Naruto's wound, the old pervert picked him up over his shoulder and said, Now let's get you out of here before Modius comes back for you. We can't waste any more time because of your family matters. Yes, Arrow. Sennin, I understand you. You're never going to stop calling me that, Jiraiya sighed. No, unless you stop being such a pervert, which we both know that is not going to happen. Hey, Itachi, why didn't you let us capture the kid? The two strode off into the distance, unaware that they were being watched. The taller one said, Because Kisame, Jiraiya is there and one of us would die if we fought him to get Naruto. Plus, despite that Kyuubi Jinchuriki is wounded, his swordsmanship is exceptional for his age, Itachi said, turning to face his companion. To catch Naruto, we have to exercise caution. Orochimaru, meanwhile, was clenching his teeth in agony at a base outside of Rice Country, saying, Damn those Spartans. I had never anticipated that they were alive and that Namikaze has been interfering too much. Yes, but at least Sasuke Uchiha was given your gift. So all is not lost, just set back a bit, Kabuto remarked while giving the painkillers. Yes, the snake Sanin laughed, for my arms and all the jutsu I know. This would not be an issue if we could only convince Itachi Uchiha to accompany us, but since he is stronger than I am and the sole reason I left the Akatsuki, this is an impossible dream for us. Ah, it feels so good to be alive, Verg. Virgil calmly drank his whiskey and said, I told you to never call me that, Dante. You know I hate that name. Dante looked at him and said, Oh, stop being such a hardass and loosen up for once in your life. Virgil and Dante had returned from a day of devil hunting at Konohagakure. A woman, you know what you need. Virgil replied, I doubt it. You need one more than I to control you. I don't think that there is anyone that can control me unlike Nora. Dante smiled slightly at him and said, hey, isn't that? Then there was a crash at the end of the bar, and Dante and Virgil turned to face it. Yes, that would be Kurenai Yuhi and Hana Inazaka, his brother said with a nod. So, are we going to meet and greet? Let's. One of the 6 men who were harassing Hana and Kurenai said, come on, baby, let's go. We could have some fun where we are going. The twins walked over together, and Hana said, how about no? You pitiful Neanderthal excuse. You can accept that offer and shove it up your ass. As one of them approached Hana, he was about to take her arm when Dante's voice yelled, hey, I think the lady just said no to you gents, so make like a banana and split. The men turned to see Virgil and Dante observing them nonchalantly. Well, Virgil was grinning at them. You two are who the devil? Asked one of the thugs. We won't ask you again because that isn't a concern of yours right now. Virgil calmly stated, stop harassing these 2 women. They're connected to another friend of ours, and he doesn't like perverts or would-be rapists. Neither do we. Angrily, the thug snapped, why you lousy? In an instant, Yamato, Virgil's fabled sword, was at his throat, saying, if you value your life, I suggest you leave the premises, now. Virgil sheathed his sword as the thugs scuttled fearfully past the brothers, and Dante questioned, Virg, did you really have to do that? Dante, I know you better than you know yourself, Virgil said, glancing at him. I assumed you were going to start a fight based on the gleam in your eye. I would rather not pay for anything and keep this bar intact. Oh, come on, protested Dante, I wasn't going to trash the place. Last time back in Wake City, your old shop was trashed because of Arkham's little gift that he said I sent you. Need I remind you that it was your fault? You knew I was coming anyway to see you. I didn't want to miss my heartwarming family reunion with you. Oh, if I may interrupt, may we know the names of those who helped those creeps get away from us? Hana said as the Sparta twins turned to face Kurenai and Hana. Let me introduce myself. I am Dante Sparta, the legendary devil hunter, Dante said, grinning and bowing to her while his red trench coat flopped in the air. Virgil Sparta, his twin older brother and the Dark Angel, his twin said monotonely. I take it that you two are Kurenai Yuhi and Hana Inazaka? You two. You are the ones that helped Hokage Sama fight against Orochimaru, Kurenai inquired dutifully. What is your relationship to Naruto, and how did you find out about us? Why come now if you were related to him? It is a long story, Virgil said. We have plenty of time on our hands for now, Hana retorted. After a brief period of eye closure, the Dark Angel turned to face his brother and said, we should tell them. I have a feeling that Yuhi-san is going to pester us for a while if we don't. That's true, Dante replied. Well, we'll tell you. The prince of the underworld, Mundus, was fought and defeated long ago by our father, the legendary Dark Knight Sparta. After that, he fell in love with a human woman, Eva, who became our mother, and they had us. After we received self-defense training, our father presented us with our heirlooms. Virgil's was the Yamato, and mine was the rebellion. We had to give the blades a piece of our spirit before we could claim them. When he was strong enough to hold the Kyuubi at bay himself, Naruto used a jutsu that allowed us to manifest our true selves. When he discovered our swords, our spirits were hidden inside his mindscape, protecting the Kyuubi. How do we know that you are not lying? Asked Kurenai. After briefly activating his devil trigger, Virgil uttered, are you satisfied, Yuhi-san? After she nodded, Hana remarked, wow, so now you guys have a second chance to live. Yes, Dante said, and since Snake Man entered, more demons have been appearing recently. We must determine the connection between Snake Man and Fast and the demon appearances in Konohagakure Hotel. All right, Naruto, we're spending the night here, Jiraiya yelled, and Naruto remarked, this is such a strange town. The two then saw a woman staring at them while tucking a hair behind her eye and in the corner of her eye. Naruto thought, I won't lie, that woman is really cute. Jiraiya thought, my pulse has sped up. Then he let Naruto know, saying, hey, Naruto. Here is the room key. In the meantime, try popping this water balloon with just your chakra, okay? Yay, whatever, just make sure you come back in one piece. I have a feeling that woman is going to shred you to bits. So to pop the balloon only using my chakra, the old pervert followed the woman as Naruto entered the hotel room. Well, Naruto thought, the Rasengan is a grinder, and the tendrils of the chakra were spinning quickly in all directions, according to the demonstration I witnessed when Arrow Kyufu did to that Modius dude. I understand now that since water can be the easiest element to manipulate, my chakra can be easier to move inside, the Sparta said, closing his eyes and gradually channeling his chakra into the balloon before he started to manipulate it in various directions. He thought to himself, very clever, 2.san, very clever. The balloon eventually bulged several times before popping, splattering water across his hand. Naruto remarked, well, that step is done. Good thing that I had those chakra control exercises practically beaten into my head. The door suddenly rang, and Naruto exclaimed, that quick, huh? He revealed. He opened the door. Sasuke. Why are you here? In a panic, the Uchiha said, no time, Naruto. You have got to get out of here now. The Jinchuriki asked. Why? The voice was deep and monotone, because of us. Naruto.kun. When Naruto emerged from the hallway, he saw Sasuke gazing at two individuals in black robes with red clouds embroidered on them. The taller one had blue skin and a large, bandaged sword, while the shorter one had red Isa, the Uchiha clan's symbolic eyes. So, Uchiha Itachi, the Akatsuki has come for me. To verify Itachi Uchiha's identity, the two removed their hats, but the blue-skinned one had gill-like marks on his cheeks and shark teeth. But, Old Blue, may I ask who you are? I'm Kisame Hoshigaki, formerly of the Hidden Mist. Ah, Zabuza's old buddy from the Seven Shinobi Swordsmen of the Mist. Hey, is Zabuza still living? After we're done with you, I'll have to go see him. Hey, Itachi, can I cut off his leg? It would be a pain in the ass if he ran away. Well, you can try, Naruto said, clucking his tongue, and wind up in pieces that I'll put in my bowl of ramen. He lifted his hand above the ground as Kisame attacked him, and Naruto reacted to block the attack when one of Ball's swords materialized in his hand. I just love shark fin soup, he said. The younger Uchiha said, stand aside, Sasuke. This has no concern with you. Itachi moved in to subdue Naruto, but Sasuke moved in front of his older brother. We have some unfinished business, brother. But I have concern with you, Ni.san. I know the truth, the real truth of why you killed our family. Itachi said, so Danzo has attacked you, as his eyes widened slightly. No, during the Chunin exams, Orochimaru attacked Konohagakure and Danzo attempted to overthrow the Hokage, but he was defeated. The Hokage was able to convict him of his crimes against the Uchiha clan in the village because he had committed treason. Itachi, you may now return. No, Sasuke, I can't. I have too much bloodshed of our family on my hands. That is why I let you live by killing me. I am able to atone for my sins and you would be seen as the hero of Konoha and savior of the Uchiha clan. No, I will not kill you, brother. The Hokage is willing to announce that you were ordered to kill our family. And what would it accomplish? You would be persecuted by many for being the brother of a traitor, and I would simply be labeled a traitor and never trusted again. I don't care. I'll accept the repercussions. After you left, I was alone for 6 years, but I can live alone once more. I know, Sasuke. Itachi said, closing his eyes, and jabbed him in the forehead with 2 fingers. But I can't let you do that. Mangekyo Sharingan, Tsukiyomi. As Sasuke entered Itachi's Genjutsu world, his eyes grew wide. This is my realm, Tsukiyomi. In this realm, I am God, he said. I won't kill you, my brother Sasuke, but I will harden my heart and kill you if you don't kill me. The older Uchiha stopped and continued, in the meantime, if you have a man named Madara Uchiha approach you sometime in the future, make sure that you stay away from him, he is dangerous and the one who helped me with the destruction of our clan. What? However, Madara Uchiha lost her life in battle against the Shodai Hokage. Brother, are you certain it wasn't a Genjutsu? The Sharingan can see through Genjutsu, stupid little brother. I don't know how he managed to survive, but that man is the real Madara Uchiha. 13 years ago, the Kyuubi attacked Konohagakure. Why are you saying this to me? To keep you safe because he'll try to recruit you or try to change your perspective on the world. I want you to get stronger. Once you can defeat me, I'll move on to the next phase. However, for the time being, you will listen to Justin Bieber's Baby for 24 hours. What? A corny love ballad. Why are you such a wicked son? Returning to Naruto and Kisame, they were engaged in combat, both sporting psychotic grinsa. In fact, Kisami's smile was psychotica and said, you're doing well, kid. Did Zabuza teach you? He did along with other people I know, Kisame said, as Naruto sidestepped Samahada's overhead swing and delivered a thrust of his own. I needed some time to adjust to fighting people with enormous ass swords. It makes me question whether you're paying for something as sharkbait, perhaps? Why, you tiny jerk. I prefer the term smartass, thank you very much and it seems I hit a nerve. Since his sword is sentient and can practically rip things to scraps, not to mention the chakra suction thing it must have a weakness to it, the Jinchuriki reasoned after Kisame used Samahata to attack Naruto, but Naruto opted to block or avoid his blow. Then, with Kisame and Samahata perilously close behind him, he heard Sasuke scream and swore. Shit. Sasuke. Damn it, Jinchuriki, no running. He ran toward the Uchiha's location. At this point, I must make sure that one of your legs is severed. Come, Burial. The katana materialized in his hand, and Naruto's eyes flashed a faint shade of purple. Air trick. The Jinchuriki made the sword vanish back into the earth and lifted up his sleeve to reveal the kanji for dark fire on his left, exactly where the tattoo to hold Red Queen used to be. Naruto exclaimed. Sasuke was lying on the ground at Itachi's feet when the young Sparta vanished in an instant. Itachi, what did you do? Naruto inquired, and the Uchiha replied, nothing life-threatening, Naruto.kun. Now I must ask that you come with us, so you can give us the Kyuubi. After that, Kisame approached Naruto from behind and used Samahata to drain his chakra. Good night, Clyde. As he swung the sword at him once more, Kisame yelled, but a toad with iron greaves deflected the blow. You know, I am much better at getting women than they are at getting me. Even though it does look like it, it is my specialty. In response, Naruto said, and it is a wonder why you are still single today. Oh, stop talking, said the toad Sanin. Gamaguchi Shibari no Jutsu, Kachiyose says. Itachi's eyes widened as the hallways suddenly turned into a mass of moving flesh. Kisame, let's move. Now. The shark asked, what about the Kyuubi Jinchuriki? If we try to get him now, we will not get out of here alive, his partner retorted. When he called back, Kisame nodded and fled, saying, we will finish this later, Jinchuriki. Jiraiya said, you won't get away. He pressed his hands against the floor, and after the Akatsuki duo disappeared around the corner of the hallway, his eyes widened. What? How did they escape? When he turned the corner, he noticed a black flame encircling the hole's perimeter. What is that? I have no idea, but that fire was able to burn a hole through the Iwagama's stomach, which can withstand the most hottest of flames, Jiraiya said candidly in response to Naruto's question. How about demonic hellfire, though? After giving it some thought, Jiraiya remarked, I don't think so, though the summon beasts are on a sub-level class as devils, much like the Biju. Perhaps some demonic power has been secretly inherited by the Uchiha clan. Certain bloodlines have, after all, descended from Demon Union. Yes, but why hasn't Sasuke displayed it at all? Maybe, Arrow. Kyufu, just maybe there was a trigger to activate the power. Maybe you are. Dynamic entry. Jiraiya was kicked in the face by a familiar green and orange leg. Guy. Sensei. What the hell are you doing here? Exclaimed Naruto, startled. When Sasuke caught a glimpse of Itachi taking down Kakashi, I followed him. He appears to have applied the same genjutsu to Sasuke. In any case, I grabbed him using my forehead protector to check if anyone else was in the hallway. Actually, you got my sensei and godfather, Jiraiya. Nani? Said Guy. Oh, Gomen Nasai, Jiraiya. Sama, he said, turning to see Jiraiya rising and massaging his face. It's okay, Naruto, we'd better leave. Return Sasuke to the hospital, Guy. We intend to pursue Tsunade. Is Lady Tsunade coming back? The Toad Sanin grinned and said, yes, we will bring her back. Accuse, Naruto. Naruto gave him a nod and hurried to stand next to him as Guy approached Konoha with Sasuke strapped to his back. Konohagakure. It seems that during the girls' sparring session, Hinata noticed that Kasumi's chakra was orange-red rather than blue. This is the only time she has ever seen that kind of chakra, and that was during Naruto's battle against Neji at the Chunin exams. Since only Hinata and Tenten were aware of the enigmatic chakra, which meant that the Kyuubi no Kitsune, also known as Kasumi, was no longer under the seal, the two girls made the decision to confront her and persuade Kasumi to come clean. Kasumi, is it possible for us to have a private meeting right now? Hinata inquired as she, Kasumi, and Tenten made their way to a bedroom in the Namikaze Sparta mansion. Yes, Kasumi said. What's wrong, Hinata? Chan. I saw that your chakra network and color were different when Tenten and I were sparring. Your chakra is red, whereas the chakras of normal people are typically blue. I have only ever seen red chakra once, during Naruto's battle with Neji to stop his chakra strikes from closing his tenketsu. I take it that you are the Kyuubi? I figured that you would be the one to figure it out my secret, said Kasumi, smiling and closing her eyes. Look, Hinata. Chan, I am not here to hurt anyone, Kasumi said. raising her hands in a surrender gesture as both girls stiffened. A man by the name of Madara Uchiha was able to manipulate me and force me to attack Konohagakure 13 years ago by using his Sharingan. How are you at liberty? Hinata-chan, I am not at liberty. I currently possess the power of an average Jonin, and Naruto is able to control it. This choker symbolizes the seal on Naruto.Koi's stomach. Tenten remarked, that doesn't explain how you are free. I might add that Naruto.Kun set me free against his will. His ancestry initially made me dislike him. I was upset and depressed when I learned that his ancestor, Sparta, had wed a human woman. I had once fallen in love with him. He reminded me so much of him that I attacked him when I first met Naruto and learned that he was a descendant of Sparta. He had the opportunity to ruin me, but he never did. I lost. Instead, like Sparta did when I fought him, he decided to spare me. I tried to hide my feelings for him as they developed over the months, but a friend helped me come to terms with them. I will not harm anyone unless they attack me or Naruto first, said Kasumi, glancing at each of them. Even though I despise those who have wronged Naruto in the past, that doesn't mean I'll destroy everyone in this place. Why should we trust you? Tenten asked. Because she is speaking the truth, Tenten, Hinata said. As genuine as her eyes and heart are, so are her words. Despite Kitsune's reputation as master manipulators, they are able to successfully conceal their feelings and tell lies, but Kasumi is being completely honest about this. Says Kasumi. Thank you, Hinata-chan. I guess that I will trust you for now, Tenten remarked. The demon replied, if I lie to you, then you can kill me and I will not fight back to defend myself, that is a promise. Now that we've resolved that, let's enjoy ourselves, said the self-assured Hyuga. Tenten and Kasumi both grinned as they agreed. So, Kasumi, do you have anything on Naruto? Tenten inquired. Oh, you know that thing you do with your tongue when you're kissing Naruto. He almost jizzed in his pants, Kasumi said with a slight smirk. How the hell? Oh, right, you were inside of him at the time. Wait, did you see all the dates that we went on? Yeah, it was very entertaining, especially the first date. That one was a classic. So you finished step 1? Jiraiya said. Naruto stifled a shudder as he returned to a nearby town, thinking, okay, I am definitely sick or someone is talking about me. Indeed, I did. What comes next? You must shatter this rubber ball in order to proceed to step 2. It will be more difficult to break because there is no water inside. Let's see, I have to pour a lot of chakra in this ball to break it while applying the first step, Naruto said as soon as he handed him the ball. Okay, Naruto, it's time to concentrate. I never thought he would learn the first step in a few hours, but he is picking it up faster than his own father. Is he, in fact, the child of the prophecy? Gazing at his godson, Jiraiya pondered. Near Konoha, underground base, Ga, an aide yelled, Orochimaru. Sama, the medicine. Take it quickly, as Orochimaru screamed in agony, my arms. Orochimaru glanced at him, and blood splattered all over. Then Kabuto entered and said, Orochimaru. Sama, please take the medication right away. Oh, and it appears that as soon as I return, I will be assigned to cleanup. Eventually, Orochimaru gritted his teeth and said, I don't need your crappy medicine. With his glasses up, his right handman remarked, I mixed the medicine myself, it should at least burden the pain. Damn it, said the snake Sanin, I never imagined it would hurt so much. Did you find her, by the way? According to Kabuto, she is located at Tanzaku, Gai. Is that correct? But it won't be easy for us to capture her? Well, the hardest obstacles are usually the best cures, isn't it, Kabuto? Have you seen this woman? Jiraiya asked a man as he handed him an old photo of his former teammate when Naruto and Jiraiya stopped by a gambling pub and stood in front of him. Ah, yes, I have seen Hera. Phew, she lost a whole suitcase stacked with bills in our game just a few hours ago. Do you know where she went? Inquired Naruto. I do, the man grinned, but you have to play for the answer, young man. Not wanting to stir up his sensitive side, the Jinchuriki sighed and sat down slowly. Han or Cho? Hana, okay, then I will choose Cho. The man placed the dice in the cup, turned it upside down, and shook it around. When he slowly raised it, he saw that there was a 3 and a 6. It is Hana. I win. She went to a nearby city northeasta, about a few miles from here. The Sparta and his perverted sensei departed the building after Naruto nodded and said, thanks for the information. Come on, Shizune. Let's go now. A blonde woman in Tanzaku. Guy hurriedly said, cutting through the crowd. But you were winning, Lady Tsunade. Plus don't you want to take a look around the beautiful castle? Shizune responded. Tsunade looked at the castle and hurriedly said, "Yes, yes, it is. Now let's." Then the smoke cleared and Orochimaru and Kabuto were visible next to him as the castle began to collapse. Smiling at Tsunade, Orochimaru said, "I finally found you, Tsunade." After the two leapt from the snake that had been called forth, Tsunade said, "It's been a while, Orochimaru." "I have searched everywhere for you," Orochimaru retorted. "Stop babbling and tell me what it is that you want with me. I know you didn't come here to talk about the past." "Straight to the point as always still, Very well, I have a small favor to ask of you, Tsunade." Tsunade thought, what the hell is with that smirk of his? As Orochimaru's arm twitched slightly. Tsunade's deduction was flagged by Kabuto, who said, "It seems that you have figured it out. We need your expertise, Tsunade. Sama." Tsunade waved them away, saying, "Then find another medical specialist. I don't do freelance work. I quit being a doctor." Kabuto responded, "I am afraid that we can't do that. You are one of the Sannin and the most powerful of them all in terms of physical strength. Why seek me out?" asked Tsunade oft. Orochimaru responded, "I want you to join forces with me, Tsunade. So together, we can destroy the Leaf Village." Tsunade gave him a fierce look and asked, "Why do I want to do that?" Orochimaru laughed. "Considering that fact that we both lost precious things because of Konoha. Me, I lost the power to gain immortality because of that fool of a sensei. You lost two of your most beloved because of Konoha's actions. Those were certainly horrible ways to die." At that precise moment, Shizune took action and launched Senbon at Orochimaru from her launcher on her right arm. To keep his master safe, Kabuto stepped in front of Orochimaru. Kabuto thought, "Those Senbon. They are poisoned." When Tsunade said, "Calm down, Shizune." Observing Shizune's furious expression, Kabuto said, "That woman, she is impressive." As she pounded the wall behind her, creating a huge crater, Tsunade said, "I'll kill you. HMPH, you haven't changed a bit, Orochimaru. You know who I am, remember? Don't kid with me." She lost her fake smile. Kabuto thought, destructive and fearsome. "She's single, definitely single. We came here to negotiate, not to fight," the medic then stated. "I already said it once, I don't want anything to do with you. Now get out of my sight," Tsunade said, glaring at him. "It is not like it is a one-way bargain. Let's make a deal," Kabuto attempted to explain to her. Tsunade replied, "You better be out in 5 seconds or I will kill you. 5, 4, 3. "Please calm down, it is not a bad," said Kabuto. In response, Tsunade said, 2, 1. "I can bring back your brother and your lover back to life with the Kenjutsu that I have developed," Orochimaru decided to say at the moment. "You haven't killed us yet. Does that mean we have a deal?" Orochimaru asked confidently as Tsunade's eyes widened and she briefly turned away. "Don't you want to meet them again, Tsunade?" inquired Orochimaru. Tsunade replied, "So if I help you, you are going to destroy the Leaf Village?" Orochimaru replied, "That is correct. I am going to obliterate Konohagakure and this time I will succeed." "This time?" Tsunade asked, "You mean, you failed the first time?" "There was an unexpected event that occurred," the Snake Sannin retorted. Jiraiya and Naruto arrived at the castle ruins in the meantime. "Looks like there was a battle here or it collapses on its own. I doubt it is the second option," said Naruto. "Hey, you over there, what happened here?" Jiraiya yelled at a man who was fleeing from the scene. "You two should run. There was a demon beast that appeared here," the man retorted. "What kind of beast?" "An huge snake." Immediately, Jiraiya and Naruto thought, Orochimaru. "So he is here too, what does he want with Tsunade?" Jiraiya asked. Naruto replied, knowing his slimy ass, he probably is trying to manipulate Tsunade to join forces with him. "Destroy the leaf?" Shizune asked, turning back to Tsunade and Orochimaru, then turned to face the unsure Tsunade. Kabuto said, "And your answer is?" Protested, Tsunade. "Sama, you can't listen to them. Your brother and uncle wouldn't want you to do this. Have you forgotten your dreams? Your wishes? Yet I understand, reality is set, even if it is like this. And even though you lost." Tsunade yelled, "Shizune, shut up. I don't need you to remind me about what I have lost." Kabuto responded, "You don't have to answer now, but hopefully we could come to a peaceful resolution. Also the Kenjutsu needs a live sacrifice, thus we have prepared 2 bodies." Shizune looked at Kabuto and said, "Tsunade. Sama, let's kill these bastards. If we work together, we can defeat them since Orochimaru is weak." Orochimaru bit his finger slowly, drawing blood as he did so. Tsunade froze and shivered all at once. I may be weak now, but I know about Tsunade's weakness. Now, Kabuto, let's go. Tsunade, I will await your answer in 1 week. The snake Sannin responded. The two villains then vanished into thin air. Tsunade turned away and said softly, let's go, Shizune. Shizune hurried after her while holding their pet pig, Tauntaun. When Jiraiya and Naruto arrived on the scene, the toad Sannin swore, damn, we just missed them. We better go, they haven't gone far. The next day. Man, we checked every damn gambling casino and pub and we still can't find the accursed woman. How hard it is to find a blonde-haired woman with watermelons posing as breasts, Naruto yelled. Jiraiya responded, calm down. Let's sit down and eat. Have you mastered the second step? Jiraiya nodded. Good, after we eat. I will tell you the third step, which is to combine the first and second step and maintain it. We also need to plan our next move since Orochimaru is obviously after Tsunade to heal his body since your ancestors and sensei basically beat the shit out of him. Jiraiya. The white-haired Sannin turned to see Shizune, Tauntaun, and Tsunade. Naruto slapped his hand across his forehead and uttered, oh, you have got to be fucking kidding me. Tsunade questioned, what are you doing here? The reply from Jiraiya was, looking for you. Funny, next sensei is going to come and visit me. Naruto responded, so Orochimaru was here, so he could ask to heal his body, right? How do you know about that? Simply, my ancestors along with Sarutobi.G.San were the ones who did that to him. The realization that Orochimaru's suffering was due to the silver blonde's ancestors astounded Tsunade. We need you to come back to the village to become Hokage since Sarutobi Sensei has become too weak to battle or rule, Jiraiya replied. I refuse. The title of Hokage is a fool's job, Tsunade retorted. Tsunade remained silent as Naruto snarled, it's official, you are the most stupid member of the legendary Sannin. Naruto was furious at the obvious insult, but instead he growled, let me guess, Oro. Teme gave the offer of bringing your lover, Dan, and your brother, Nawaki, back to life, right? What did you say? What? You're deaf too? I bet most of your brain went mostly to your boobs. You have the gall and nerve to insult your grandfather, grand uncle, your own sensei and my father along with your deceased brother and lover. Nice job, bitch. No wonder you suck at gambling. Matter of fact, you probably lose on purpose, so you can have your debtors fuck that dried up pussy of yours. Tsunade's face burned with shame and anger, and Jiraiya and Shizune's mouths dropped at the obsceneness of Naruto's remarks. The Jinchuriki lifted his right arm and used the devil bringer to block her punch. She said, Woe dot, are you to judge me? Me? I'm Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Sparta, son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, student of Jiraiya the Toad Sage and Kakashi Hitaki, Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune, surrogate grandson of Hiruzen Sarutobi Dot and unfortunately a relative of yours. What? You mean you don't know? You must be too drunk to remember that the Uzumaki clan is part of the Senju clan since Miko Uzumaki was married to Hashirama Senju, the Shodai Hokage, making me and you relatives. HMPH, I was expecting Tsunade of the Sannin, not a wrinkling old bitch wallowing in self-pity with gambling and sake. That is Ida outside now, Tsunade yelled, her shock turning to anger once more. Smirking, Naruto said, with pleasure. Let them go. This is probably the best and only way for Tsunade to get out of her depression, Jiraiya said, holding out his hand in front of Shizune as she began to object. But Naruto will be Finia, despite of his wound. Now let's watch the entertainment. As they stood facing one another in the courtyard outside, Tsunade remarked, I will teach you not to mess with your eldersa. But I will go easy on you. One finger is all I am going to need. Darkly replied Naruto, that is my line, you pathetic excuse for a Sannin. Hiding behind that genjutsu of yours to get away from your shame and guilt. I bet there are a lot of wrinkles under there. Nay, Chan. Tsunade charged at him right away and stabbed Naruto in the chest with her finger, but Naruto vanished from view. What? She exclaimed, startled. Naruto remarked from behind, you are too slow, slug Sannin. Does that mean you have to suck someone's dick after losing a bet if you are the legendary sucker? The Sannin threw a spinning backfist, but Naruto caught it and did something that would have made Shizune pale with fear at Naruto's stadia. The Sparta groped her boobs with his remaining hand. Tsunade's face burned with embarrassment and anger, causing her to clench her fist. Naruto remarked, niece, they're warm and soft. Then, as Tsunade attempted to strike him, he stepped aside and said, you're dead. As she delivered another blow to the man, she yelled, but the swordsman took 4 steps to the right and 5 steps back. He whistled, "Woo! I would have been seriously hurt by that if I let you hit me with that punchadot, but I am done playing around with you." As soon as a crater appeared in the middle of the street, the edges stopped at Naruto's feet, and he immediately moved in front of Tsunade, punching her in the gut until the woman passed out. Shizune was shocked to learn that her master had fallen to be beaten by a Chunin, so he kicked her in the head and launched after her, going up into the air and kicking her in the midsection with an axe before climbing over her and bitching, slapping the mess out of her. "Look at you, you are nothing but a shadow of your former self," Naruto said, holding Tsunade by the neck. "You just can't handle the job, which is why you don't want to be Hokage. What kind of doctor gets shivers when they see blood? Jiraiya did indeed inform me of your hemophobia. Useless, you don't deserve to be a Sannin or a Senju for that matter." Naruto left her on her knees as the man dropped Tsunade on her ass without any fanfare. Meekly, she said, "Wada. What do you want now, woman?" Naruto asked, staring at her with his icy cyan eyes. "Although you are correct that I am weak, why do you want me to be Hokage?" "To be honest, I was a little thrilled to meet my wife's idol, but I'm also a little let down because the Tsunade that Sarutobi Gigi.san praised was level-headed, pragmatic, and stubborn, but she was deeply loyal and caring. In my opinion, you have 3 options: the simple way, the difficult way, or the method by which I devise various ways to murder you. Returning to how you were before all of this nonsense occurs is the simple solution. Staying exactly as you were and dragging you back to Konoha by your nipples is the difficult way. Accepting Orochimaru's offer is how I get to kill you, and that won't work. You have a week to shut up or nut up. Bah. Shan, I hope you can remember who you are." Shizune and Jiraiya approached the kneeling Tsunade as the Sparta left the woman. "Tsunade. Sama, are you okay?" Shizune inquired worriedly, and the slug Sannin shakily replied, "Why? Yeah, I'm fine." "That was pretty dumb of you, Tsunade," Jiraiya remarked. "First of all, you were intoxicated and not at your best. Second, you had to battle a half-devil. And third, and perhaps most importantly, you insulted the people he looked up to as a child. His concern for you is a great blessing. That man doesn't care about Tsunade Sama at all," Shizune shot back. "He wouldn't have put her up for that unfair duel if he had." "Yes, Shizune, he does. He is the only one who truly understands what pain is. He is a Jinchuriki, and because the Kyuubi was imprisoned inside of him, he was mistreated and lonely. The sole distinction between him and Tsunade Chan is that he never allowed that to deter him. Instead, he kept getting back up. Furthermore, Tsunade is as unyielding as a mule on some issues, and the only way to convince her is to give her a good ass kick. Tsunade is reminded of himself by his current state of being." The Sparta heir was now practicing with his new devil arm, Ball. The gray ash blades had earth-like properties and could send seismic-sized shockwaves. Naruto paused and threw one of the swords at a tree to the northeast of him. "Mr. Dark, rush out. I am aware that you are present," Naruto yelled. As expected, Modius emerged from behind the tree and said, "You have recovered, Sparta descendant?" "Yes, I have. Your brother Casper helped the wound gradually heal with that holy water, which is why the area is still sensitive. How's yours?" "A little scar. Your teacher is a great fighter to surprise with that move," Modius retorted. "However, it only took a few hours to recover, and I had wasted a lot of time trying to find you. So, how would you like this to unfold? I would like an honest battle, no tricks, no hostage situations, no ninjutsu, just swordsmanship. Have you got anything else?" "Yesa. I want you to fight with the sword that you killed my brother with." Naruto released Alistair from the seal that once contained rebellion and called the sword he threw at the tree back into his hand, allowing it to vanish into the depths of hell. "Sure, Modius, I understand." Instead of the kanji of resistance, the mark now reads, "All right, Modius, let's begin." The battle started when Modius brandished his red broadsword, which was the same size as Ball's, and the two swung into each other in the center. Shizune traveled through the forest to locate Naruto after Tsunade was healed and taken to their hotel. She was clearly still upset about Naruto's extreme physical and emotional abuse of Tsunade. "Where is he?" Then blue lightning burst into the sky. "What was that? It's not that hard to find," she pondered. When she got to the scene, she saw Naruto and a man with black hair fighting against each other. After a brief pause, the man said, "It seems that we have an uninvited guest." Naruto calmly responded, "Is that so? Maybe I should ask that visitor to go. That woman and I actually know each other, let's go on." "Right. That is enough, Modius exclaimed as he sped past Naruto, and the Jinchuriki's eyes widened as he swiftly moved Alistair to block the delayed strikes. He is much faster than his brother as Speed Demon literally. Naruto and Modius engaged in another sword fight again, with Modius launching a barrage of blows that Naruto either dodged or blocked. Grab this. Azure Drive. Naruto swung Alistair in a reverse grip to release a blue arc of energy at Modius, but the black-haired devil moved to the side to avoid the energy blast. Then the devil felt a hand on his shoulder. Got ya. Stinger? Naruto pondered, he is much faster than that. Why did Heya? As Modius's eyes widened after being stabbed. Naruto escaped with a slash on his chest after suddenly sensing someone behind him. Yuga. An afterimage, right? I assumed that you, Ball, were the one who depended on speed more than your brother. That's right, a descendant of Sparta, Modius said, flicking Naruto's blood from his sword. You share a lot of your mother's viewpoint. You were acquainted with her? Indeed. And I suppose I have to defeat you to get more information. Correct again. All right, I never imagined that I would have to use this against a devil, Naruto said, closing his eyes. In all honesty, aside from my ancestors, you and your brother are the strongest devils I have faced. Devil Trigger, he said, glancing at the devil. Come on, said Naruto, assuming his devil form. Modius smirked briefly before assuming his actual form. Shizune watched in amazement and disbelief as the two devils engaged in furious combat. Even though they struck each other and drew blood from their bodies, they seemed unfazed. After 10 minutes, Modius finally stumbled because he was too exhausted to keep up with Naruto, who yelled, "Electric Dance Macabre." Naruto immediately slashed at the helpless Modius and then stabbed him quickly. Naruto yelled, "Breakdown," as he delivered a final stab to complete the move. Modius crashed into the ground as he flew backwards. Naruto returned to his human form, panting with effort. You have won, Naruto Sparta. Now for your prizia. Your mother was a lot like you. Stubborn, yet kind. Even as a priestess, she didn't believe that all demons were evil. I fought beside her once when a horde of demons threatened to enter the human realm. Thank you, Modius. Now please accept my sola, so I may join my brother and you at your side. With a nod from Naruto, Modius's body transformed into a red, glowing orb and moved into his own sword, turning it into a blood-red rapier. Great, now that it is left as Agni and Rudra the Firestorm, Cerberus the Ice Guardian, Bael and Dagon the Masters of the Frozen Soil, Nevin the Lightning Witch, Ifrit the Fire Devil, Abigail and the Hell Vanguard. Naruto pondered, this is going to be a long while before I can get all of them. The voice was timid and said, Naruto. Sana. The Sparta said, oh, it's you. Shizune-san, right? As he turned to face Shizune. Yes, are you okay? Yeah, Ayama, it was family matters. My mother was a priestess and as a test, she released all of the devil arms that the Spartas collected. Modius was one of them. I am guessing that you came to rant at me for beating up your master, right? I was angry, but Jiraiya told me that you were worried about her, Shizune said, his expression changing from one of concern to one of rage. Of course Ayama, she is my only relative on my mother's side. I will be damned if she gets killed by some random genin because of her fear of blood. Buddha. I know about her life. She blames Konoha and that necklace that seems to be connected with death. She lost Nawaki in an explosion and she lost your uncle Dan to a blow meant for her, and thus her fear of blood appeared when she saw her hands covered in his blood. If you ask me, that is pretty pathetic. He chuckled as Shizune glared at Naruto, saying, you look like you want to kill me. He called forth Modius and extended the hilt toward her. Go ahead, Thena. As he pressed the hilt into her hand and impaled himself on it, Shizune's eyes widened, but she was shocked to learn that he survived a blow to the heart. As he paced around with Modius still trapped inside him, Naruto remarked, with demonic blood in me, I am very hard to kill. He then tore it out and caused it to vanish into the ground. Yua. Now you see why I was so confident. Tsunade wouldn't be able to kill me as she is now. Now if you will please excuse me, I will be going back to my hotel. I'm very tired. After 2 days, Naruto had successfully completed the Rasengan and was attempting to do it with just one hand without the assistance of his Kage Bunshin. In order to become accustomed to his new weapons, Ball and Modius, he also trained with them. He believed that Kabuto and Orochimaru would both perish at the end of the week, and he was going to see to it that this occurred. While Jiraiya and Tsunade were drinking at the pub once more to have the Slug Sanin persuade her that it was the right choice, he went back to the hotel and dozed off on his bed. She said, so what do you want this time? Tomorrow is the last day for the bet with Naruto. I wonder what happened to him anyway. Tsunade watched Jiraiya drink his sake while sneaking a tasteless and odorless drug in without him noticing. Jiraiya soon fell asleep, and Tsunade was able to escape as the hours went by. Base located on the outskirts of Fire Country. I wonder which answer she will give us. If it is yes, then the destruction of Konohagakure will be in your grasp and Tsunade will be reunited with her two loved ones. However, if she says no, then it looks like I will have to force her to join us. Do you think it will be easy? I have you, don't I? Orochimaru went on. You don't need to worry. I know the most. When it comes to her, even her weakness, she will agree to the deal for sure. Kabuto grinned at the remark. While Shizune described her godson's condition, Tsunade was tending to him back at the hotel. Tsunade acknowledged. Jiraiya was right. It was a foolish bet that I made with him and for me to get so worked up about it. Heh. Tsunade. Sama. Please don't go tomorrow. Shizune said. Why won't you say anything back? Please answer me, Tsunade. Sama. After realizing that there was tension in the air, Tsunade glared at her, and Shizune said, if you plan to go to that, man, I don't care if it takes my life, I will stop you. Tsunade remained motionless, and Shizune asked, Shizune, do you know who you are talking to? Tsunade turned and knocked Shizune unconscious right away. Orochimaru and Kabuto, meanwhile, were en route to the meeting spot to meet the Tsunade exchange. Kabuto. It could be problematic if we had any interruptions with the exchange. Orochimaru replied. What do you suggest? Kabuto asked, glancing at the snake Sanin. Take care of that associate of Tsunade. It might be best if we kill her now. To get him to move in a different direction, Kabuto pulled out a kunai. The Jinchuriki said, yeah, it is me. What happened to you? Shizune's eyes fluttered open as he said, Naruto. Naruto woke up and looked down to see Shizune on the ground. Oi, Shizune-san, wake up. Shizune jumped right in, saying, Yuga Tsunade. Sama. Then she exclaimed, Lady Tsunade. She went to see Orochimaru. Quick, we must hurry and find Jiraiya. Sama. Her head left the window just an inch before a kunai sped by her face. She noticed Jiraiya to her left. According to the Sanin, wait, Shizune. Arrow. Sensei, what happened to you? Naruto said as he approached the window. Jiraiya responded, your fucking godmother. She must have slipped a drug into my drink. I can't control my chakra well and my body stings like hell. Shizune gritted her teeth and gazed at the floor. Either way, there will be one less Sanin when we get there. Which means we have no time to waste, no time, Naruto stated firmly. For Jiraiya Sama to even be here, this has gotten more complicated. I will have to report this to Orochimaru Sama. And for Naruto-kun to be here as well. Kabuto, meanwhile, was hiding in the shadows. He shifted back, and Jiraiya and Naruto looked at the location where Kabuto had been before. Jiraiya responded, Naruto, Shizune, let's go. And Shizune, explain on the way about Orochimaru's promise. Hi. Said Shizune. Forest, so Orochimaru is trying to convert Ba-chan over to heal his burns. Huh? Perfecta. This is an opportunity to kill him and end this whole charade of immortality mess here and now. Remember, Naruto, I am at only probably 30% of my strength at the moment. I know a dot, but I am going to kill him. I promise Anko-chan that I will bring back his head to her if I ever got the chance. After a few years, the three of Tama including Tontona landed on the ground to witness the devastation in the same location where Shizune and Tsunade first encountered the cunning pair of doom. The rubble looks a bit fresh. It looks like our little princess declined Orochimaru's offer. Jiraiya responded, they couldn't have gone far from here. Naruto remarked, good, I don't have to kick my relative's ass at all then. Jiraiya replied, come on, we must hurry. Tsunade won't last against Orochimaru for long. Right. Exclaimed Shizune. As this was going on, Tsunade was struggling to breathe and was attempting to pound Orochimaru and Kabuto's brains into their skulls. Kabuto suggested that they relocate to a more suitable area, realizing that the small space was a disadvantage. Orochimaru consented and allowed his right-hand man, who was his fuckbud.er, to guide him to a spacious clearing. It seems that Tsunade is out of breath. It might be a good time to put it to use. Orochimaru replied. Then he made hand signals. Chakra Mesu no Jutsu. Kabuto took out a soldier pill and ate it while stating, although taijutsu is not actually my forte. Tsunade thought, so he knows medical jutsu as well. When Kabuto's hand exploded from the ground beneath her feet, the Iryo Nin's eyes widened and she chose to take her time disappearing. Her fist slammed rapidly into the ground after she leapt into the air, but Kabuto dodged the lethal blow. The two medical ninjas were surrounded by large pieces of stone. Tsunade decided to kick Kabuto after noticing a big stone next to her foot. In a moment, she was in mid-air, and his kneeling form was behind her, vanishing from the path of the deadly stone. As Tsunade landed on the ground, Kabuto touched her abdomen and bicep, leaving an opening. Kabuto slid back a few inches from her as she slammed her shoulder into his chest. Tsunade said, "Ouch." She thought to herself, "Damn, he cut my muscles." "That is right, I have cut your bicep and abdomen muscles, so that super strength trait of yours will not be a nuisance to me anymore." Chakra scalpels. But if you have that, then why would you cut my muscles? Why aren't you aiming from my arteries? As he struck Tsunade, he said, "Although my skills in the medical field are excellent, but in the middle of a battle, I am not that accurate to aim for your arteries or main organza. But if I aim at your neck, it shouldn't be a problem." Tsunade moved to block, believing he was aiming for her neck, but Kabuto showed that it was a feint, aiming for her chest instead. Tsunade coughed and said, "Damn you. You hit my lungs. You can't breathe." She continued to think, he isn't an ordinary Iryo.nin. His speed and strength exceed my own even in my prime. Kabuto adjusted his spectacles. "It would be a bother if you were to die, so I won't aim for your neck, but after that blow you shouldn't be able to move around." However, he was taken aback when Tsunade struck him in the neck, sending him sprawling to the ground. Damn it, it didn't hit her lungs at all. HMPH. I guess those large breasts are good for something. It seems that I need to be a bit more serious about this. He became aware that his body was acting strangely all of a sudden. Whoa. Before he could realize what was happening to his body, Tsunade punches him across the face. "Thesa. This isn't caused by my muscles, it's caused by my nervous system," replied Tsunade. "I see that you seem to realize your problem. I converted my chakra into electricity and transfer it throughout your body." Orochimaru was thinking, "Fufu, I see ya. The nervous system is run on electricity, but Tsunade disrupted the initial flow by sending more electricity. Now the signals in Kabuto's body is sending so many signals that it can't distinguish them." While Kabuto knelt down to examine his body, Tsunade took advantage of the situation by healing himself. Kabuto was able to identify 60% of his body in a matter of seconds. "Okay, if I moved my right hand, my left leg moves. If I move my left foot, my right shoulder moves." Kabuto yelled, "Don't think that with the level of power, can defeat me." What? He figured out how to control his body already. When he brought down the kunai, Kabuto said, "You are afraid of blood, right? I'll show you some now. I'll scatter just enough blood until you are at the brink of death." However, he was stopped, and the right hand looked to see a devilish hand on his arm. "Hello, Kabuto. How have you been?" Kabuto grinned and said, "Naruto. Kuna, what a surprise." Naruto looked over and saw Orochimaru frowning and wearing bandages on his arms. "And hello to you too, you cowardly snake. How's your arms, and more importantly, how's your ass since I gave you that lovely present back in Konoha?" He grinned. Orochimaru simply glared at Naruto and kept going, "Oh, don't be mad, Orochi-chan. I wanted to thank you gave me the pleasure of exposing Danzo and his bitches on the council. Reveal the true reason that Itachi-san killed his own clan. Get one of the devil arms that my mother awakened and learn the locations of most of your bases in Fire Country." Orochimaru exclaimed. "What? Yeah, Tayuya-chan, one of the Sound 4, your bodyguards until I killed them. The one that you lied to saying that I killed Kin-chan. That Oniadachi is a fighter, but I got through to her with the help of Kin-chan, and now she is living with me under house arrest, of course, after she told me about your bases. I will be paying them a little visit after I kill you." Naruto laughed. The gauntlets and greaves of light appeared on his arms and legs, and he threw Kabuto away as he attacked Orochimaru while Kabuto battled Shizune and a weakened Jiraiya. Then his face lost its smile and he glared at the Sannin, saying, "You are going to pay for the pain you caused Anko-chan, Orochimaru. Your time is Upa Beowulf." Naruto was pushed back even though Orochimaru immediately spat out the Kusanagi to block his punch. The snake Sannin remarked, "You are as strong as your father when I fought him back then. Now there was a true genius unlike you." Replied, "I am a genius of hard work. It doesn't matter if talent is born in your blood like Sasuke. As long as you got the determination to do everything in your power to protect the ones that you love, that is a good enough quality to describe a genius. Your ambitions will end here." Naruto leapt into the air and yelled, "Lunar phase." Orochimaru yelled, "Ninpo Senichashu," and snakes slithered out of his sleeves before landing hard on his face, which turned to mud. Then Orochimaru emerged from the ground and thrust the Kusanagi's blade into Naruto's skull. A cage bunshin? Orochimaru thought as the boy vanished into smoke. Up here, yelled Naruto, and the snake Sannin looked up to see Naruto holding Mobius. Falco defeated. Orochimaru used Kusanagi to stop Naruto's descending attack, and then he became airborne again, forgetting the Devil Bringer's power. Orochimaru skidded back, but he regained his senses as he slithered out to Naruto, extending his neck and fangs to bite him while flipping through hand signals. As the boy's hair grew and covered most of his body, Naruto yelled, "Ninpo! Harijizo!" However, the snake persisted until a clone materialized at his neck. Nero Guillotine. Just as the cage bunshin severed his bunshin's neck, Orochimaru swiftly spit out the real one using his body rebirth jutsu. Then the snake summoning tattoo, Kachiyose no Jutsu, was covered in blood after the snake Sannin bit his thumb. Naruto remarked, "You have got to be kidding me. This again? You need more tricks, Orochimaru," as he gazed at a huge snake. The snake lunged at Naruto, who leapt away from the snake's maw and yelled, "It's pointless. Firenze." Orochimaru screamed, "Spill his blood, then eat him. I will need it to obtain the perfect body when I have Sasuke's own in my grasp." Naruto irritated the snake by holding Mobius in front of him and shooting demonic energy at its head. Orochimaru lay down low while he sent out snakes with Kusanagi blades from their mouths, and the Jinchuriki landed on top of the snake. As he sped past them and chopped off the snakes' heads, Naruto muttered, "Well, that one is Newa. But still not Newa. Anything else?" The man said, "I will have your blood." Naruto shot back, "That is not new at all." "Then how about this? Kachiyose. Edo Tina." As he cut the Sannin in half from the waist up, Naruto yelled, "Not going to fucking happen." Orochimaru retorted, "Gathering of the snakes," and the snakes emerged from his torso to reattach him to his lower half. When Orochimaru yelled, "Mandara no Jin," Naruto retorted, "Kaden. Goryuka no Jutsu," and blew a huge dragon's head to emerge and burn the snakes that were descending on the Jinchuriki. Naruto was able to follow Orochimaru as he fell back. Ninpo. Senatahashi. Kaden. Heizekiho. Orochimaru and the snakes were blasted with ash, and as the snakes got close to Naruto, he sank his teeth and the ash exploded, injuring Orochimaru and destroying the snakes. Naruto landed on his feet as the snake Sannin fell to the ground. Orochimaru hissed, clearly in pain from the cuts and burns on his arms and chest, "Damn you. You know, someone wanted to have my blood and yet I am not bleeding in any way. Oh, well. Time to die, Orochimaru." "You first, Sparta." Naruto coughed up blood after both were stabbed in the heart, and he said, "Sneaky bastard, I didn't know that you can control your Kusanagi from a distancia. Very clever of you, but it will not stop me." The Jinchuriki pulled Mobius and himself from Orochimaru's body in order to move away and kill Kabuto, but he heard a low hissing sound and leapt away to see Orochimaru in a giant snake form composed of several smaller white snakes. He had a pointed chin, long, spiky black hair, and a scaled face with snake-like teeth and tongue. It was Orochimaru who hissed, "Dai Hakebe Modoa." As Naruto sent Mobius back down to hell and unwrapped Alistair from his arm, he said, "I am going to cut off your Herda. It seems that I will have to do the saying. Cut off the head and the body will dia." This is the end of the line, Orochimaru. Damn, you are one ugly motherfucker, but that form just finia. Now this time, I am not going to aim for your Herda. Naruto smirked with Alistair in hand as the sword crackled with blue electricity, but Orochimaru hissed back, "We will see about that, Sparta." Jiraiya, Shizune, Tsunade, and Kabuto. Jiraiya, Shizune, and a recovered Tsunade were hard pressing Kabuto in taijutsu. She overcame her fear of blood and joined the battle by demonstrating to her godson that she had transformed back into the Sannin she was. His ass was being thrashed, and the only reason the bastard was still alive was because he had an innate healing ability. Jiraiya and Tsunade were both weakened when he transferred chakra to the area. With a shout of, "Ninpo! Dokugiri!" Shizune blew out a puff of purple fog. "If I breathe in that fog, I will dia," Kabuto thought as he hurried out of the fog to meet Tsunade's fist. The slug Sannin yelled, "Take it," to her old teammate. The boy was kicked in the chest by Jiraiya, who also bruised Kabuto's ribs. The toad Sannin thought, "Good thing I had those metal strips installed on the bottom of my geta." He looked at Naruto as he ducked under the blows of Orochimaru's white snakes. "I need a bit more time. The effects of Tsunade's drug are weakening. Soon both Orochimaru and Kabuto will be dead." As Jiraiya entered the battle to free Shizune from Kabuto's grip, He was startled out of his reverie by Shizun's sudden cry of agony. Jiraiya yelled, "Kaden! Hausenka!" which caused the traitor to evade and let Shizun go. Tsunade and Jiraiya continued their assault on Kabuto while Shizun tended to the tendons in her arms. The hits, particularly Tsunade's own, were hammering the Yakushi. Jiraiya then grabbed Kabuto by the ankle and threw him to Tsunade, who kicked him up and punched the Yakushi, sending him back to Jiraiya, who had been ready for the return. Rasengan. The evil man crashed into a rock after the orb was pierced his chest. As he knelt to the ground, panting with effort, Jiraiya remarked, "Damn, I didn't have enough power to kill him, but at least he shouldn't be able to get up now." After waking up drowsily, Kabuto coughed up blood and collapsed to the ground, barely able to move. Tsunade and Shizun sat on the ground, breathing heavily and using what little chakra they still had to treat their wounds. Orochimaru launched a quick strike at Naruto, but the Jinchuriki deflected it with Alistair, and the two engaged in combat. Prop Shredder. Orochimaru screamed in agony as the blade sliced through the snake's scales, and Naruto kicked him in the air. Aerial Rave. Orochimaru was sliced into 4 pieces, which then fell to the ground in a pile of blood. Naruto said, "It's Donia," as he started to leave to see how his friends were doing, but then he felt lightheaded and exclaimed, What the? Yamada no Jutsu. All heads turned at once, and Orochimaru's snakes turned into an 8-headed, 8-tailed white hydra as they converged on one another and grew larger. Ha 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 ha. You can't kill me. I am immortal. A god. You will never defeat me or deny me my prize as the most powerful being in the 5 great countries. Your fate is to serve me in submission, Sparta, and it will be easier with that poison entering your body from my Dai Hakebe Moto, Orochimaru said, as one of the mouths opened to reveal him laughing crazily. Naruto cracked a grin and replied, "You foola. It doesn't matter if you have your ninjutsu or genjutsu. You a god, don't make me laugh. You are just a human consumed with evil. It doesn't matter. You can get as big as you can. Gain every jutsu in the world if you want, but in the end." Naruto yelled, "It's pointless," as Orochimaru mentally instructed his Hydra to attack him by assembling an energy ball. The theme song from the anime Devil May Cry plays. Naruto engaged in a power struggle after blocking the Hydra's blast with Alistair. Naruto's eyes burned with an unholy light as he yelled, "I will not lose. This is for Anko. Chan, Kin, Chan, and Tayuya. Chana and Yua will die." Orochimaru was left battered and crawling backwards after Naruto used his own energy to launch the energy ball back at the Hydra, destroying it entirely. Why can't I kill you? I am more powerful than you. I have more strength than you. The answer is simple, Orochimaru. It is because you don't have a soul anymore. You see, each person has a soul, the driving force that allows them to fight the very end to defeat and overcome any obstacle in their way. It dictates them to tell them what to do, what is right. You lost your own the moment you experimented on those innocent people, marked Anko. Chan, and manipulate your subordinates to make them suffer. Wait a. I can give you more power, let me go free and I promise that I will never show my face here ever again. Naruto grabbed Alistair by the shoulder and dragged out loose, saying, "Nope, after what you did. I can't really let you go free. You were way too dangerous to be left alive. Orochi. Teme. Plus Sasuke just got his life back on track and I can't let you screw that up for him." Naruto stepped aside to allow the sword to fly past him as Orochimaru yelled, "You bastard," and spit Kusanagi out of his mouth. Orochimaru then leapt at him. He said, "Jackpotta," while holding loose in his left hand. He then started shooting Orochimaru all over his body, causing the snake Sanin to hang in midair. Orochimaru then fell to the ground after being struck once in the head by the Jinchuriki. "Orochimaru! Sama!" exclaimed Kabuto. Ignoring the cries, Naruto put loose away, went to the dead body of Orochimaru, lifted Alistair above his head, and severed the head of the dead snake Sanin. End of the linear. Orochimaru. Naruto sealed Alistair again and sealed Orochimaru's head with a scroll. "And now it is your turn. Kabuto Yakushi, you will join your master in the pits of hell," the Jinchuriki said, approaching Kabuto. Kabuto gave him a furious look before grinning and saying, "No, it is going to be you, Orochimaru's former right." Handman snapped his fingers, causing the Hell Vanguard, the leader, and several hordes of the Seven Sins to materialize in front of him. "So you were the Oniya. I should have known, Kabuto, but I actually have to thank you for sending me the Vanguard." Kabuto laughed and said, "You can repay me by sending your head to Maya, but I suppose that you will disagree with that. So I will recover and bide my time before I come to kill you, Naruto Sparta. And I will be waiting, you necrophilic snake bitch." According to Naruto, Jiraiya, Sensei, Tsunade, Shizune. Get your asses moving. I will handle this affair. Kabuto flipped through hand signs and vanished in a puff of smoke. According to Shizune, but, Naruto, Kuna, don't argue with me, you three are in no condition to fight hordes of demons right now. Tsunade responded, but neither are you, Naruto, it is suicidal for you to do this. You will die. I won't die. I have my friends, my lovers, my family waiting for me to come back. Toa, you guys can't survive fatal hits like me, plus Tsunade. Ba. Chan, you still haven't confessed to Sensei that you are in love with the damn pervert. So when I get back, I expect you two to be making out like two long lost lovers, got it? You better get back to us safely, Naruto, or I will find a way myself to hell and travel there myself to kick your ass, Jiraiya said calmly, placing a hand on Tsunade's shoulder as she started to object. He, this is what I live for. I am absolutely crazy about it, Naruto exclaimed as he drew out Luz and Umbra to begin shooting at the demons, and the three departed after giving him the thumbs up. The Jinchuriki aimed Umbra at one and shot it in the mouth after kicking it in the chest. Naruto leapt into the air and used the heads of the connecting scythes as a springboard to leap high in the air as a number of demons suddenly pulled out their scythes to slash at him. Looks like to stop the horde from getting any bigger, I got to destroy the greeds first and I need to cut a path, he thought as he turned to face the 15 greeds. After shooting the one beneath him, Naruto holstered his weapons and used them to call forth Ball. The song Devils Never Cry, as he dashed toward the 100 strong and forged a route through the demons to get to one of the summoners. Naruto uttered the words, "Time to go to work, boys." When the greed attempted to knock the Sparta down by lifting the heavy medium in its hands, the Jinchuriki leapt over it and severed its head. One down, he uttered as Naruto stabbed a pride that had just teleported in front of him. He used his swords to cut a hell who had the cunning to block with his scythe in half after kicking one in the head, but his attempt was unsuccessful because his weapon was destroyed. As he threw Ball aside for the time being, Naruto barely avoided a slash and grabbed the weapon, tearing it from the hell and using it to kill him. With skill, Naruto assumed a bojutsu stance and started to play with the scythe a little. One hell had his head severed as he prepared to attack him with sand bullets. Not in this life, you dumb son of a bitcha. For the next 10 minutes, the young Sparta took care of 5 summoners while reaping numerous demonic souls. When 4 clones emerged, they unlocked Beowulf, Burial, and Alistair and called forth Modius. This is getting me nowhere. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. After killing multiple people, Naruto threw the scythe away and summoned Ball to him. 3 hells were killed as the swords spun as they approached him. Naruto said, "Now let's have some fun, shall we?" The clones nodded as they launched their assault, destroying every hell they came across until only the Hell Vanguard remained. Alright, guys, dispel, but one at a time. His commands were obeyed by the clones, and Naruto reenacted each kill in his mind. Nicea. Now for you. After yelling at him and swung his scythe, the Hell Vanguard vanished. As he shifted around, Naruto's eyes narrowed and he started to flip his swords in his hands. Suddenly, a ripple appeared behind him, and Naruto shifted to prevent the scythe from piercing his back. The overseer of the 7 hells vanished within his fabric of time and space as the Jinchuriki retaliated. Naruto decided to leap into the air, but the false god of death emerged through a portal and slashed at him. Alright, I will give you something to laugh about, a quaking fear. Naruto stabbed his swords into the ground, causing the area to tremble and the demon to lose its balance after the Jinchuriki and the scythe. Wielding demon clashed. The boy landed, and the Hell Vanguard let out a spooky laugh. As he gathered his chakra, Naruto ran at the demon, leaving Ball motionless. "Eat this, you son of a bitch." Rasengan. Naruto swung the orb into the demon's face, obliterating it with blue dust. The Sparta landed in front of the dust and saw that the scythe was still there. The blue sand swirled into a glowing orb and embedded itself into the scythe. To the surprise of Shizune, Tsunade, and Jiraiya, Naruto picked it up and limped back to his hotel, saying, "Normally I would showboat a bit, but right now, I am tired as hell." Naruto, they all yelled together. Before he passed out on the ground, Naruto said, "Hey, I thought I told you to be making out like too long lost lovers." The scythe clanged loudly as it hit the ground. As she removed her necklace and placed it around his neck, Tsunade grinned and said, "That is our godson, a crazy little bastarda." Lady Tsunade, that thanks to him, Shizune, I can believe in the title of Hokage once more, this boy. My godson is a very hard bastard to kill. As for you, Jiraiya. Huh? To Jiraiya's surprise, the female Sannin took him by the collar and kissed him fiercely but firmly. I am sorry for being an idiot and not noticing your feelings until now. For the first time in his life, Jiraiya was unable to speak and had nothing to say. Shizune and Tauntaun were asleep when Naruto woke up the following day, but Jiraiya and Tsunade were not there. Before everyone woke up, the Jinchuriki got up and went to prepare breakfast. Tsunade and Jiraiya came downstairs grinning with satisfaction. Well, Jiraiya had a shit-eating grin on his face. Naruto inquired, so where is my god? Child going to be due? Naruto chuckled as the two surviving Sannin flushed, saying, okay, after breakfast. We return to Konoha. Raita. I assume that the necklace is yours, Tsunade. Chana. Ka. Chan. Well, yeah, you are my remaining family and you are sort of a mother, aunt figure. Who compulsively loses at gambling and drinks a lot. According to Tsunade, why Yua? When Shizune woke up, she saw Naruto and Tsunade fighting, with Jiraiya serving as a mediator. She laughed. Naruto Namikaze Sparta. Thank you for bringing Tsunade Sama back to her old self again. Shizune was thinking to herself, I believe that I will only see and hear nothing but great things from you and your unorthodox methods. Asking the slug Sannin, feeling nostalgic, Tsunade. Ba. Chan? A bit, was the Sannin's response. They then stormed into the Hokage Tower, with Tsunade nodding to Naruto as they both kicked open the door. Jiraiya had sent a messenger bird to them earlier, so the Sandame arrived on schedule. With a warm greeting, Sarutobi said to his former pupil, hello, Tsunade. Heim, welcome back home. Good to be back, you old geezer. Now on to business. I am here to take up the mantle of Hokage like my ancestors before me and bring about some new changes around here. Yes, but first, you must rest. You must have had a long journey. I will tell you of the events tomorrow. Kabuto, meanwhile, was conducting experiments on Orochimaru's headless body in an abandoned base. He succeeded in transforming Orochimaru into his Snake Sage mode and separating the cells so he could incorporate them into himself. Now that I am done with that, I will summon Orochimaru's soul back, but Edo Tensei limits the time and has an anchor to the Shinigami. So I must open the true Hell Gate to get it. I will have to research on getting the perfect body for Orochimaru Sama, so we can have our revenge against Konoha and most especially, Naruto Sparta. Kabuto started laughing maniacally and maliciously, making the other test subjects, that is, the prisoners, a shiver in their cells. A brand new evil has emerged. Weapons were embedded and scattered throughout the area, and bodies wearing armor resembling that of samurai were found lying on the ground, pierced or slashed by an unidentified weapon. The sun was obscured by a darkened gray sky, and a man wearing an elaborate headband was kneeling on the ground with his broadsword buried in the ground when he said in despair, It's Avera, this is it. We have nowhere to go from here. A different individual stated, it was a foolish decision to make a journey here, doomed from the start. Leaning against the tree, a third man with makeup applied to create a ghostly face said, This is the end, we must turn back. A strong-willed woman rose from the ground and said quietly, There is still a path, have faith, I know that we will find it. But, Princessa, protested the second man. You mustn't give up, the princess firmly said as she turned around. Princessa. The four friends turned to face a man with a big white mustache and beard after hearing someone laugh. Princess Gale, this is as far as you will go, you bastards, they said. Together, the three men exclaimed, Mao, don't tell us that this storm is your doing. Mao remained silent but laughed malevolently as he saw one of the ostensibly dead samurai rise up and try to murder the princess. Fortunately, she gracefully swung out of the way and used her sword to execute a move that sent the samurai flying into oblivion. When the four heroes realized that the samurai was nothing more than a spirit that was hiding inside it, they turned to see that the other samurai were emerging from the earth. With a proud voice, Mao exclaimed, Give up, princess. Fall to your knees and bow to me. With rainbow chakra enveloping her body like flaming fire, the princess exclaimed, I will never give up, as long as I live, I will gather my strength and forge a path for others to follow. The second man said, The princessa. The first man declared, The rainbow chakra is ablaze. The third man said to the others, Brothers, let us light the flames of our chakra too, and both of them nodded in agreement. Pitiful, Mao exclaimed as he swung his staff in order to collect dark chakra at its pronged point and pointed it at the princess, but the princess's and the three men's combined strength prevented it from doing so. The samurai behind them were struck by the dark chakra that bounced off the rainbow chakra shield. The princess let out a loud cry and hurled a rainbow chakra beam at Mao, who was caught in the blast and swung up into the air. White clouds and a rainbow appeared in the dark sky after the blast magically cleared it with a burst of bright light. Now let's push on, our fate lies beyond that rainbow. The princess exclaimed as the film came to a close and the audience dispersed. Kakashi. Sensei is Ladia. Again. With a callous tone, Sasuke asked, "So what else is new, Sakura?" According to Naruto, well, that movie was a bit interesting, but I still say it needs a bit more kick to the whole thing. That princess was a good actor, but I don't think that she put any feeling in it. Sakura questioned, "Why do you say that, Naruto? You can fool people with actions, but her eyes were holding something else, something tragic. I can tell those eyes from a mile away," Naruto said with a serious voice. "It's too bad that the movie ended. I wanted to rest my eyes on that handsome Michi, who played Sukekuro for a little while longer." "So what am I to you, Sakura-chan? Your toy? Jealous?" she inquired in a playful manner. "Not really, he is not even competition to me. Can you tell by looking at this handsome face of mine?" Sasuke replied, "But why did Kakashi-sensei tell us to watch the movie first before we got to our mission?" Before he could finish, Naruto was interrupted by a sight of the actress who portrayed the movie's princess on a horse that leapt over the fence. "We probably have to guard one of those snobby actors or actresses back somewhere or something. That is the only one that I can come up." When the team stepped back from the gate, they noticed that some of the samurai actors were pursuing her. Naruto responded, "Let's go and try not to hurt either of them. We got to know what is going on." "Right," exclaimed Sakura and Sasuke. As the princess galloped across the courtyard, one of the samurai instructed the men to cut her off by taking a shortcut. While the samurai threw a net to catch her, the princess pulled back on the reins to cause the horse to rear up, but Naruto, holding Beryl in his hand, cut the net into pieces. "Don't let her escape." Naruto looked up as the Jinchuriki knocked out 3 of the samurai as the group leader passed by. "So they're trying to capture her, but why?" he asked, glancing at the samurai. "I can't waste time here. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." The princess turned a corner and led the horse to run down the stairs and jump, while Naruto said, "Wake one of them up and ask about this. I will go after the princess." A clone then materialized. Before the princess's horse was to land, 2 samurai pulled out glass bottles of oil and threw them to the cobbled street. The princess fell from the horse after it slipped. "Get her," the leader yelled, pointing. The leader smiled triumphantly as he declared, "We finally captured Hera." But the princess emerged from atop the dog pile and transformed back into Sakura after the samurai leapt from their horses to perform a dog pile on her. The chase leader was taken aback and asked, "Huh? Who are you?" But before he could respond, Sasuke calmly mounted the horse and gave him a chop to the back of the neck, knocking him unconscious. Upon witnessing their leader collapse unconscious, the samurai immediately attempted to flee, but Sakura blocked their path and subdued them. Sakura and Sasuke were tying up the men and grouping them together in a matter of minutes. "Oh no!" Sakura acknowledged Kakashi, who was perched on a pillar, as the 2 genin looked up, saying, "Kakashi-sensei." The jonin said, "What are you guys doing?" As he wiped his hands, Sasuke replied, "Killing time. We were about to ask these guys a few questions on why they were chasing that actress." After briefly vanishing, Kakashi found himself in front of the leader. As he helped the man up, Kakashi said, "Geez, I am really so sorry about Thisa." Sakura said, "What is going on here, sensei?" As the man turned to face them, Kakashi said, "This is the gentleman who hired us for this mission today." Actress Princess Gale sat by the riverbank, allowing her horse to relax and sip water from the stream. When Naruto asked, "Lady, are you okay?" she appeared to be lost in thought. Her gaze shifted to him, and the Jinchuriki said, "My name is Naruto Sparta. May I ask why those people were chasing you?" She stood up and went to her horse, but Naruto interrupted, saying, "Lady, answer my question." The princess attempted to run him over with the horse situation. He said, "This is going to be Funa," and jumped into the lake. He then sped off after her, saying, "You know, lady, the sooner I get my answer, the sooner I can leave you alone in peace." Naruto rolled his eyes and said, "I love it when they play hard to get." The woman's expression changed from one of slight surprise that he could keep up to one of indifference as she slapped her horse's butt to encourage her to move more quickly. With a sudden jump, Naruto said, "Okay, so I am guessing that you are the culprit to this mess by running away since you don't want to talk to me about it, so it looks like I have to bring you in." In front of some kids, he forced the horse to stop by grabbing the reins from behind. The princess was struggling a little, but he got off the horse and brought her down. "Let me go!" exclaimed the woman. "That is Yukie Fujikaze. Can I have your autograph?" The woman, Yukie, said, "Forget it, I don't do autographs." The children continued to object until Yukie yelled, "Enough already. I mean, come on. What is so special about getting my autograph anyway, huh? You are just going to shove it in some drawer and forget about it. All it is good for is collecting dust. They're just a waste of time. They're useless, oh what a joke. Naruto caught her by the collar and slung her over her shoulder as she walked past them. She kicked and pounded on his back in protest, saying, "Hey, what are you doing? Put me down." "Yukie, that is your name, is it? Well, Yukie-san. Here is what is going to happen. I am going to carry you, kicking and screaming if maybe all the way back to the studio that you were supposed to be at, so me and my team can escort to whatever the hell you were going." Naruto replied. "What? Someone in your acting place hired us to escort you to your next destination. Now you are going to be a good little girl while I escort you back to where you belong. Got it?" "No, put me down. Your call has been reached to an automatic voicemail. Please leave your message after the tone." Naruto approached the studio with Yukie Fujikaze yelling and kicking him over his shoulder as Kakashi gave Sasuke and Sakura the rundown on the mission. "Our mission is to guard Yukie Fujikaze." Sasuke raised an eyebrow and asked, "Guard?" "Well, not guard, practically escort her. The next Princess Gale movie will be one that we are shooting abroad. I don't need to tell you that our actress can be a bit of a diva," the assistant manager said in a slack manner, turning to face the client, who said, "Sorry, I do apologize." The manager spoke with a gravelly tone. "I will tell you, these Konoha ninja are impressive. These two took care of those stuntmen turned bodyguards like it was child's play, and those were some big guys too." "Oh, well, thank you." Sakura gazed at the image until she focused on a specific one. When she saw the glacier, she exclaimed, "Oh, wow, look at those cliffs. Oh, that is the Rainbow Glacier from the Land of Snow." Upon recognizing the bald man, Sakura said, "You are Kin, the actor who played Brit." Another individual stated, "That is where we are going to shoot for the big climatic ending of the movie." "You are Hidero. You played Shishimaru Yukigakure, huh? That seems like a long way to go just to shoot some scene for a movie," said Sasuke abruptly. The assistant director responded, "Yukie Fujikaze's manager, Sandayu over here recommended it. Apparently he told us that this rainbow glacier glow in 7 different colors in the springtime." "No," Kakashi responded, "that is just an old legenda. The truth is that there isn't any spring in Yukigakure." In response, Sasuke said, "What, not ever? Does that mean it is winter all year long?" Nodding, Kakashi said, You got Ida. Kakashi, wasn't it? From what I hear is that this won't be your first time in Yukigakure, is that true?" the director asked, glancing at the Jonin. "That was a long time ago." Sakura saw that he had the same distant expression as when he discussed the memorial stone. "They say that it is a very poor nation too." Sakura looked over and saw that it was Sukekero's actor, Omiji. Her eyes were full of tiny hearts as she said, "Omiji, you were great." Omiji went on, "Anyway, the story is that their former lord had a thing for gadgets and squandered the money on useless dads and gizmos." Hidero responded, "Yeah, well, I just hope they got central heating. I am not really all cut out for the cold." Kin said, "Maybe you should run for the hills too, just like Yukie does." The actors chuckled as the assistant director complained, "Come on, you guys, that is not even fair." Sakura timidly questioned, "So does that mean Yukie is not always like this, is she?" Kin responded, "Kind of, yeah, poor Yukie, she wouldn't even know the meaning of words like dreams or aspiration. She is really helpless." As the men exchanged glances. "She has never been one to neglect her work. I don't know anything about her personal life and I don't need to. As long as she is giving her all when the camera is rolling, I won't have any complaints. Say what you will, that woman is a born actress." The director spoke with an air of laziness. "He is right anyway, she only started running from the set after she heard that we were going to Yukigakure," the assistant director concurred. After walking up with a weary Yukie, Naruto said, "Then maybe you should be a bit more discreet on your travels, before dropping her on her butt without fanfare. Man, she is such a bitch. She was driving the horse recklessly through town and almost would have run over a group of kids if I hadn't stopped her in time." Kakashi said, Naruto. What? Why is she tied and gagged?" "The woman is an animal. I couldn't get her ass to behave, so along the way, I tied Upa so Kakashi. Sensei, can you do that hypnotic thing you do, please?" Kakashi gave her a nod and let his Sharingan loose to put her to sleep. Naruto inquired, "So how long does that thing last for?" In response, the Jonin said, "A few hours, 8 to 10 hours. "Good, I can get some peace and quiet." Thina. "What did she do?" "She trampled on kids' dreams of getting an autograph from Hera, and that is unforgivable in my book." "So she has the hex crystal." Splendida, said another enigmatic man. This film actress, Yukie Fujikazuya. There is no doubt that she is Koyuki Kazuhana. The ninja, kneeling on his right side, said, I can hardly wait. It was worth the 10 years we took to find her. The woman in the back added, I can hardly wait. Somewhere behind the enigmatic man, another man remarked, hey, taking care of one little girl should be a piece of Kakeya. She had Kakashi Hatake and Naruto Sparta as their bodyguards, so she is not alone, the first ninja remarked. The stout ninja exclaimed, Kakashi Hatake and Naruto Sparta, with surprise. The lady replied, well, this should be interesting. In the end, it will be a clash of fate. As they watched the final scenes of Yukie's final movie, the four of them remained silent. Koyuki. The woman sat up, rubbed her eyes, and woke up groggily. Upon knocking on the door, Sandayu inquired, Yukie, are you awake? Sandayu, could you get me some water? My head won't stop spinning. This is going to sound crazy, but it feels like the room is swaying. Really, it is not all that crazy, Sandayu remarked. Huh? After a few seconds, Koyuki found herself on a boat and exclaimed, you have got to be kidding me. Later that day, Team 7 observed Koyuki preparing for her scene while the crew set up the scenes on the boat. This is going to be a very long mission. What are you talking about, Naruto? We have to protect her. This is an important mission. Mission? Correct. An A rank 1? An A rank mission. Huh? Brings back old memories, right? Sasuke, Sakura? Naruto said, closing his eyes. Looking out to sea, Sasuke remarked, yeah, it does, but I don't know. Babysitting a little pampered actress would be all that difficult. That is not true, Sasuke. Celebrities are targeted all the time. Besides, it is hard to predict who is after them. Just be on your guard. Kakashi cautioned. When the lights came on, Koyuki started to play the part. When Koyuki called for Sandayu to bring her eye drops, both Sakura and Naruto twitched. Naruto responded, I stand corrected as she is good. Sakura remarked, then again, she is impossible. Naruto's eyes narrowed as a massive iceberg blocked the route the following day, saying, an iceberg that appears out of nowhere just so happened to appear in front of us. Something is going on here. Fortunately, the director chose to film here because the movie gods provided the perfect setting. Mao, the evil priest, was up against the actors' alter egos. Behind Mao, there was an explosion as the man gestured at them. Kakashi held his arm out in front of the performers. The assistant director shouted from his position, hey, what do you think you are doing? But Kakashi said, everyone get back now. A man emerged from beneath the snow and threw off his tarp as the smoke subsided, saying, welcome, Frenza to Yukigakure. Kakashi exclaimed, you, but was sidetracked by a woman with pink hair. Kakashi turned to face the actress and said, greetings, Princess Koyuki. I do hope that you are still carrying around the hex crystal. You are as good as they said, Kakashi. Unfortunately, it is not good enough, a burly man to the right said, laughing. Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura. Protect Yukie. Everyone else, get back to the ship now. Fubuki, Mizore, I will leave the princess and Naruto Sparta to you too, declared the ninja leader. Dibs on the Sparta, replied Fubuki. When Kakashi leapt to confront his opponent, the man remarked, it's been a long time. Kakashi, I hope you are not planning to run like last time. Nadare Ruga. The Hatake blocked Nadare's punch with his forearm and kicked Kakashi in the torso in return. But the Yuki ninja grabbed his ankle and kicked him back, causing Kakashi to duck and perform a backflip. As they ascended the icy slopes, the two landed apart and swung strong blows at one another. Well, I did always say I wanted to be in the movies. Here's my chance. Let's show them what we got. Team, the Chunin and two Genin said as they moved in front of the actors and actresses. In order to meet the Genin, Mizore pulled out his snowboard and leapt onto it. Mizore turned around for a second attempt, but the Uchiha dodged again after Sasuke engaged him first and had to back off to avoid his attack. He threw a Fuma Shuriken after starting with a kunai, but it didn't work against him. Fubuki exclaimed, Hayatan, Sabama Fubuki, instead. HMPH, Nenshausuga. Naruto exclaimed, melting the blizzard. Like attack and drawing burial. Sakura stood poised and commanded the actors to approach the ship, but Koyuki froze in disbelief. Princess, yelled Sandayu as he ran toward her. Sandayu, what are you? Hayatan. Hyoru. Fubuki yelled, striking the ground with two fingers. To avoid being trapped, Naruto stepped back and threw a flaming wave of chakra at her, but she defended herself with her own jutsu, and Koyuki was forced to kneel on the ground by the fire. Princess! Exclaimed Sandayu. After giving their position a quick glance, Sasuke had to duck and weave to avoid Mizore's attack. but Mizore launched him back with his metal fist. Sasuke! Suiryuden no jutsu! Exclaimed Kakashi, and a water dragon emerged from the sea to attack Mizore. However, for some reason, the dragon bounced off of him, allowing him to halt the attack. The director yelled, "Keep the camera rolling even if it kills you, show them the pride in our work." Kakashi, there's something odd about their armor, the Uchiha remarked as Sasuke and Kakashi stepped back to back. Yeah, I know it, just be careful, it is chakra armor, created by the ninja here in the land of snow. Chakra armor? It is definitely a lot stronger than it used to be. Replied, so you remember? The armor increases the chakra within the body and strengthening our jutsu. It also creates a wall of chakra around our body, able to deflect the chakra off our adversaries. In result, ninjutsu and genjutsu are rendered useless. Hyuden. Haryu Muko, Sweden, Suiryuden. After colliding with the water dragon and freezing it, the ice tiger proceeded in the direction of the Sharingan wielders. The genin confronted Sasuke after Kakashi and Sasuke leapt away from them. Naruto said, "Hey, Sasuke, you wanna switch with me? This lady keeps hitting on me like it is nothing. I thought you like it when women hit on you, not when they are trying to kill me and speak about the dominatrix fetish. That is way too much since I believed I already got one somewhere in my little family." Rolling his eyes, Sasuke consented to switch places with him. After Sakura cut the bindings that he threw at Koyuki, Naruto hurried to Mizore's position, just as he was about to run over her. Just as he was about to punch her, Mizore yelled, "Out of the way, little girl." Naruto sent the Yuki ninja flying away after giving Mizore's face 2 boots to the head. When Mizore yelled, "You little runt," Naruto dropped Burial and took Mizore's punch. "I am not a little runt. Mizore Fuyukama. You should know that considering that I am the devil whirlpool." Naruto's eyes turned momentarily cyan blue. Mizore wondered, what is this chakra? It is eerie. Sasuke, meanwhile, rapidly covered his body with his feet after rolling away from the ice prison. Fubuki smiled primarily because she had managed to keep her new toy intact, but she also noticed that Sasuke had replaced it with a fire pod and a small parting gift, by which I mean a small explosive tag. Ninja wire caught her against her own pillar after the tag went off. Fire spread along the wire as Sasuke muttered, "Ryuka no jutsu." But Fubuki used her wings to dodge the explosion. "Sorry to disappoint, but I like to be unrestrained, but you like to take the initiative. I will have to break that when I defeated you, cutie," Fubuki said with a laugh as Sasuke gazed at her in midair. Sakura yelled, "Yukie, hurry! Hurry back to the ship now." When Yukie remained motionless, Sandayu exclaimed, "Your Highness." Koyuki's thoughts immediately turned to the day her father was killed. She recalled being carried away from the castle where her recently departed father had been kept. Sandayu interrupted Naruto's yell, "What the hell are you doing? Get out of here now, princess, please. We must get to the shop." "Noah." When Koyuki screamed in terror, "I don't care if I won't go back to the land of snow," Sandayu said, "You have got to go now. Your life is Ina." The Jinchuriki, half distracted, then said, "Woman, we don't have time for your selfishness now." Mizore grabbed the opportunity and threw Naruto away before aiming his metal hand to capture Koyuki. With a shout of, "Cage Shuriken no Jutsu," Sakura stepped in front of it and hurled a shuriken that multiplied by 20. Sakura was knocked out by the hand's velocity, even though it was slowed down slightly. "Sakura!" cried Naruto. When Koyuki passed out, Sandayu fell to the ground and exclaimed, "Princess!" Kakashi turned to see that they were all in danger and hurried over to them. "You are not going to run away again, Kakashi, we are not finished yet." Hyuden. Itsukaku Hokage. "Alright, I do have to give your props for that jutsu, I will return the favor," Kakashi said solemnly. "Naruto, get everyone and get them out of here." Kakashi paused to observe a one-horned whale that had pierced through the iceberg and separated a portion of it from the mass of ice. "Got it." Using his assigned Sharingan, Kakashi yelled, "Hyuden, Itsukaku Hakuge." HMPH, still playing the copycat game, huh? You are not going to beat me that easily by copying my moves all day, Kakashi. Beat you? Sorry to disappoint you, Nader, but that was not the goal that I was aiming for at the moment. What? The whales clashed, but Kakashi's managed to force Nader's back into the iceberg, cutting off the Konoha ninjas and the Yuki ninjas from their target. Additionally, it caused the boat to drift farther out into the current in the direction of Yukigakure. And cut. The filmmaker yelled, gesturing with his megaphone. "I hope we got all of that," the assistant director muttered. As the boat took off, the Yuki ninja banded together and watched. Fubuki whispered, "Dodo. Sama is not going to like this." The expedition leaders later joined the ninja and Sandayu in the captain's quarters to evaluate the situation. After the boat had docked by the harbor, Kakashi said, "You have known all along, Sandayu, haven't you?" "Yes, sir. Didn't you ever consider the risks that you would be taking if she ever came back to this place?" "You were right, of course, see, but this was the only way that I could think of to get the princess back to the land of snow." Sandayu sighed. Naruto remarked, "So Yukie Fujikazuya is really Koyuki Kazahana?" "That is correct. She is the rightful heir to the land of snow's throne," the Hitakis said with a nod. Sandayu continued, "I first met her a long time ago. I was her aide and she was still just a little girl. I don't blame her for not remembering me at all since it was years ago." Inquiring primarily for confirmation, Sakura said, "You're from the land of snow as well?" "Yes, sir." The former assistant replied, "I served the princess's father, the former leader of this village, Lord Susetsu Kazahana. The land of snow was particularly small, but it was very peaceful here. Lord Susetsu adored his daughter and those were very good times but 10 years ago, on that cursed day, Lord Susetsu's younger brother, Dodo hired a group of Yuki ninja and instigated a revolta, a successful coup d'etat. The palace was burned to the ground and I feared that the princess had perished as well. From there, Kakashi assumed control. I rescued her in the palace. We were having negotiations with Tamadat but we were attacked. I had to fight the Yuki ninjas off, the very same ones that we fought today to get to Koyukia. After I got her I ran. There was no way that we could defeat them at all, so we had to keep hidden." With tears in his eyes, Sandayu remarked, "I was practically beside myself with joy the day that I discovered our beloved princess was alive. She was alive after all of those years. I should have died back then." Koyuki was standing at the doorway when everyone turned to look at him. Sakura tried to soothe Naruto by putting her hand on his leg while he gritted his teeth. "You mustn't say such things, princess. We feared the worst. You can't imagine how frantic we all were. We never stopped praying for your life." Sandayu wiped away his tears with a handkerchief and said, "And that is how I came to be the princess's manager. I have bided my time, waiting for the day when I could escort her back to the land of snow." Koyuki's solemn response was, "I am Olivia but my heart is dead. After that day, any tears that I had left had all dried up." The assistant director was furious and exclaimed, "So all of this time, you have been using us? I apologize for deceiving you, but it was for the sake of the land of snow's people." Sandayu replied. He stood up and prostrated himself in front of him. "Koyuki. Please confront Dodo and assume your rightful place as the leader of our land. I will sacrifice my life without hesitation in order to protect you. I beg you, take up arms and lead your people." "I don't think so, Wa." As Koyuki stared at him, he said, "You have got to be kidding?" Naruto's eyes started to shift from a cerulean blue to a cyan blue, alternating between the two hues. "Buddha, what about your people? I could care less about them, just forget it." "But princess, will you give it up already? Don't be dumb, it doesn't matter what you do, you will never get rid of Dodo, okay?" After hearing a clatter and then a slap, Koyuki collapsed to the ground, holding her cheek while Naruto stood above her. "You fool! Don't you realize that you don't have a choice? You were the princess of the snow country, except that now. Even if you go back far away, Dodo already know your face. You will not be an actress anymore because of that, and what other skills you got other than acting, huh?" Koyuki averted his gaze, but the boy grabbed her face and made him meet his eyes. "Stop acting so childish. True, you lost your father and I can understand that you want nothing to do with this village, but leaving people that care about you under the hands of a tyrant, no less forsaking them as common trash, is unforgivable. It would be so easy for me to just deliver you to Dotoa." Naruto's declaration caused Sandayu to gasp and Koyuki's eyes to widen slightly in terror. "Your heart is dead, so you shouldn't be afraid of death or even feel it consume you at all. Is that what you want, Koyuki? To die? To die, cold and alone, like many of the people that gave their lives for you to get away with your life?" Naruto let her go as he said, "I knew a person just like you. He should be at least 9 by now. He had a tyrant in his village as well, and he also lost his father to said tyrant. He unfortunately had the pleasure of seeing his father executed in front of him. He was only 6 at the time. I met him when he was 8 and he was just like you. He never smiled or laughed, he just sat in his room, crying while he held his picture of his father. Eventually, he said a similar thing that you said as well, and I tore into his ass about Ida. Then the tyrant was killed and the village was able to prosper once again. Most of all, the boy's smile and laugh was returned to him at full force." "What does that have to do with me?" asked Koyuki. "What it has to do with you is that this man that is kneeling in front of you, practically begging, has a dream that this land will be returned to its former glory as a peaceful nation under a kind ruler, namely you, Koyuki." Telling him to give up is practically insulting yourself, your father and this village. If you continue to do so, I will make sure that you will never be able to look in a mirror without looking at yourself in disgust. Naruto, the director remarked, as long as there is hope, there is a dream. As long as there is a dream, there is a future. This is perfect. What a perfect theme for the final chapter of the Princess Gale movie. Sakura stood up and put his arms around her boyfriend, saying, "That is enough, Naruto. You don't have to say anymore." Naruto calmed down and whispered, "Thank you, Sakura. Chana." "What, you are not really going to continue filming after everything that has happened? I told you, the movie is evolving. No way." The producer laughed. "Just think about it, how often do you get to make a movie with a real princess? We're looking at a chance of a lifetime here." The assistant director realized, "You're right. Think of the buzz, even the making of it will be a hit. We are sitting on a surefire blockbuster." "Hey," protested Koyuki. "Unfortunately, there is only one course of action, like Naruto said. There is no place that you can run to, now that Dodo has discovered your position. We have no choice, but to fight it is our only option to get through all of this." Naruto laughed. "So the plan is to find Dodo, beat his minions, kill Dodo, and then we all have a huge party with Miss Prissy on the throne." Koyuki yelled angrily, "Stop joking. This is not like the movies, there is no such thing as a happy ending." "Of course there is, if you are willing to fight for it," exclaimed the director. "Normally under these situations, I would head back to the village for a little bit of help, but With his eyes closed and his arms folded, Sasuke remarked, "It will be a waste of time. We are fine as we are. They're wary of us because we have you and Naruto. Plus me and Sakura can hold our own very well. All of you thank you so much," said Sandayu quietly. "That settles it, we are going ahead with this picture," the director declared. The assistant director declared, "And you can bet this one will have a happy ending. All of you, please stay inside, looks like I got work to do here." Kakashi asked, "Your other profession?" as Naruto became alert upon hearing screams. Nodding, Naruto pulled out Luz and Umbra and said, "Yep, and it looks like it is going to be a huge party." The Jinchuriki rushed outside to see the trucks being attacked by frosts. Naruto alerted the frosts to his presence by firing a few rounds into the air. "Now, boys, trashing up the place is not a cool and fun way to have a party unless it is something I don't care about but anyway I am going to have to tell you to cease and detest in what you are going or I will have to kill you." Naruto grinned. Naruto fired a bullet at the icicle to cause it to shatter after one of the frosts threw one at him. As he put his weapons away and removed Burial, Naruto remarked, "Oh, okay. I see that you are choosing the hard way, huh? Good, because I like it that way." Naruto jumped into the air and landed on a truck after the frosts attacked him from all directions. The boy leapt into the air and yelled, "Aerial Rave!" as one of them hit the ground, creating a bed of ice spikes that led to Naruto's location. Regretfully, the frost that leapt into the air after Naruto was reduced to frozen ribbons. Naruto then kicked a frost away after slamming his fist into it and chopping off its arm. He came for another frost and slashed the ice demon in half, avoiding a blow to the heart. He then kicked it in the chest after avoiding an ice crack made by a nearby frost, and when he turned around, he saw that the frost had grown back the arm he had previously severed. "So let's see, if I can give them enough time, they can regenerate lost limbs by putting themselves in an ice coma of some sorts. They can also make ice spears out of the ground, so then the best way to kill these little buggers is to keep off the ground where they don't have much of an advantage." When frosts leapt into the air, Naruto's thoughts were disrupted. The Jinchuriki then leapt into the air to evade the ice attack. Naruto began to say, "And that would have given me a nasty frostbite yao," before a frost slashed him in the back. Naruto said, "Why you Sonofa?" while twisting and stabbing it in the abdomen. "I really got to stop monologuing." The Jinchuriki cut off a frost's head and stepped back from a swipe. "Well, this seems a bit too easy, but I ain't one to complain," smirked Naruto, who saw that there were still a few more left. "Slash dimension," Naruto commanded, shifting into a Batojutsu stance. He then swung Burial in a wide slash and let loose a destructive vortex. When light bounced off the sun, the frosts were reduced to ice crystals. After absorbing Burial in his Devil Bringer, Naruto declared, "That is all folksa," and departed, but a blizzard soon engulfed the area, and the demonic ninja sensed the energy crackling all around him. Then glowing women emerged, giggling and calling for him to approach them. "Wow, a show all over me, you two shouldn't have ya," Naruto replied. Naruto practically glided over there as the Rusalka women made beckoning motions with their fingers. He started to enjoy the sights and the merchandise until a demon that resembled a toad emerged and attempted to devour me, but Naruto sprang to his feet to avoid it. So that is what you look like, yeah, wow, and I thought Manda was an ugly motherfucker, but you take the cake, buddy. How dare you insult the great Bael, master of the frozen soila, you will pay for Yura. Yeah, hey, can we skip the monologue and fight? I swear you are some bad role models. I almost got myself killed with my monologue. Interrupted Naruto. Bael replied, fool. And while we are at it, you need some mouthwash. More like 1,000,000 bottles of Listerine. When Bael had had enough, he swung his tail at Naruto. A nearby truck exploded after Naruto was blasted backwards into it. Bael smiled toothily, but then something emerged from the smoke, revealing Naruto using his devil bringer. The crystals were shattered when the ethereal fist struck Bael's head. I can harm him on the outside, but it seems that he has a vulnerable tongue, considering that since he is like a toad, then he would have used it. Time to meet the orthodontist. Naruto smirked as he saw Bael contorted and his tongue hanging out of his mouth. Bael screamed as Naruto jumped inside its mouth and proceeded to fuck up his mouth like it was the last day. Why are you screaming for? I haven't seen got to the gums yet, let's see. A slice, Haria, damn. You have a lot of cavities. It looks like I will have to replace your entire mouth with dentures, Mr. Bael. This is truly unacceptable. Get out. After Bael spat him out, he roared, creating a blizzard, and the Rusalka women, who appeared somewhat irrational, took his place. Oh, please, your looks paled in comparison to Sakura, so you don't want to see her when she is pissed off, I mean it. The Rusalka attacked without responding. Naruto swiftly cut off the ice. Sharpened tips of the hairs that whipped out like erratic snakes. Then he reached out and used the devil bringer to seize a Rusalka. Naruto struggled to get the woman like feeler to come to him, and he pulled the ice toad demon out of his hiding spot, but he miscalculated his strength and tore off the feeler, causing it to go limp. As the devil bringer absorbed the power and experienced a surge of strength, Naruto let out a sigh. Bael squinted at the devil bringer and roared in agony, saying, that Arma, I have seen it before. Yeah, if you are talking about Nero, that is definitely Hima. I am guessing that he ripped off your little woman helper too, huh? I will make sure that you suffer. As Bael stiffened his legs and leapt to great heights, Naruto remained motionless and cocked back his demonic fist, which turned from light blue to dark red to dark purple. Naruto yelled, from the makers of Street Fighter, here is a little present, show. Ryu. Ken. As the toad demon returned to its position. Naruto delivered the trademark uppercut, bursting through Bael's icicle crown and piercing through its stomach. You have bested me, Naruto Sparta, your mother was right, you would be strong to take my soul as your prize. I shall serve you well, but be careful, I sensed my brother nearby and he is far stronger than I, the boy said, leaping down in front of the dying toad. With a nod, the Jinchuriki extended his hand to capture Bael's soul, and it changed into a blue crystal whip with a flower. Like tip. N. Picture Zanpakuto Shikai Kanshara from Bleach by Rojiro Itoribashi. The only difference is that she is see-through baby blue. As frosts emerged, Naruto began to say, I am not a fan of whips, Buddha. I think I can make this work, before dropping the tip to the side and sending it out to play. It stabbed a frost in the chest, then swung to the left to stab another. After tearing it out and destroying them, the young Sparta swung in a circle, causing the nearby ice demons to sustain deep wounds. With a laugh, Naruto sent out the tip again and yelled, get over here, just for good measure. The body turned to ice as the Sparta charged a swift Rasengan and struck its head. He then kicked a Frost who was trying to kill him from behind to a group. Then he drew back Bael and leapt high to knock the flower. Tip point to the ground. The whip then emerged in multiple copies, piercing each one through the head or chest. After a gentle landing, Naruto whimpered, you may not have flames, but you are sure at Tamara you are definitely going to be kept around. He then had Bael absorbed by the devil bringer and returned to the room. Naruto calmly said, it is finished. Now, before we go to your camp, I am going to be taking a shower. He then left the room to finish the necessary tasks. The film crew had changed their clothes and taken a fresh shower before heading out. They rested for a few hours before arriving at the cave that would take them to the rebels' hiding place. Our hideout is not far from here, it is just beyond this cavea. Once we have finished our shooting here, we will pass through the other side, then my people can rest easier with the fact that they have their princess back. Sandayu said with a grin. As he emerged from his trailer, the director exclaimed, okay, folks, let's get this show on the road. The assistant director yelled, director, we got a bit of a problem. What is it now? Yukie has up and vanished again. What? Forget it. Absolutely not. Koyuki thought as she dashed deeper and deeper into the snowy forest. Fan out and look for her. Radio in if she turns Upa. Kakashi said over the radio as Team 7 was already moving. Sakura and Sasuke responded, got it. Naruto paused as the group split up into 3 groups and sniffed the air before saying, Hama got your Saitadon, now you can't hide from me, ya stupid bitch. Koyuki ran through the forest while mentally yelling, no, repeatedly. Because she was so preoccupied, she failed to notice that some of the snow was soft, tripping as she fell downhill until she slowed to a stop. She gradually passed out and regressed to the time when her father had told her about spring and scoffed, saying, you are a liar, father. There is no spring. At last, she heard footsteps crunching on the snow and opened her eyes. Really, is running away the best you can do? Why can't you just accept the fact that you will become the princess of this land, huh? Come on. Get Upa. Everyone is waiting. With a hiss of pain, Koyuki rose slowly and then fell back down. Naruto walked over to her and bent to examine her leg, which was sprained. After breaking a branch over his knee, Naruto tore off a piece of his shirt to tie around her ankle as a makeshift splint. T'Challa, you have really become a burden now, he said. Thank you, Koyuki whispered. Naruto said, well, the snooty runaway has manners. Then he tensed up, feeling a tingling sensation in his body, but it wasn't a pleasant one. This trick again? Sorry, but I absolutely abhor one-trick poniesa. Naruto rolled his eyes as a thick mist entered and 2 crimson-colored Rusalka appeared out of it. Just as a toad-like demon emerged, the Sparta shot behind him and defeated Ivory. Like Biel, it was sickly green rather than white, and it had ice crystals on his head. What the hell is that thing? Koyuki exclaimed nervously. That, my dear, is a demona you see. These demons are a bit stronger than most. He happens to be an A-rank demon close to the level of, I would say, the Gobi. My clan, the Sparta, are the ones who hunt Tama, my mother, who was a priestess, unsealed the devil arms as a test for me before she died. Naruto continued. He looked at the demon and said, you must be Dagon of the frozen Soila. I hope that you will entertain me more than your brother did. Sparta, how were you able to detect me? I have developed a certain 6th sense for demons and plus your Senta. It reeks. Have you ever considered a shower? You insult me one more time and I will make experience more pain than you can possibly ever imagine. Dagon yelled. Looking at the demon, Naruto shot back, actually I would like to see you try that. Before the toad could reach Naruto and Koyuki, he grabbed the princess's bridal style and leapt away, leaving the toad behind. When Naruto exclaimed, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. A clone materialized. Get her somewhere, Saphia, something tells me that there are going to be less trees around here now, Naruto said. At the same moment that Naruto removed Burial, the clone nodded and removed Koyuki. Dagon swiped at him with its tongue, and Naruto leapt away, only to be struck by its tail iced out with a ice. You are getting quite popular, Burial. Who knew that 2 demons would come out so quickly? It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet here. After Naruto's back collided with a tree, Kakashi's voice could be heard over the handheld radio. Naruto, what is going on? Have you found Koyuki? Replied Naruto. Yeah, I found her alright along with something else. I will notify the verdict when I am done since I am busy as the moment. When Dagon roared, die, he lunged once more, but this time Naruto leapt into the air and yelled, Nensausuga. His ice crown was broken by the burning wave of demonic energy that struck it. When Dagon started feeling a little lightheaded, Naruto thought, so he is like Biel as well, huh? Then this should be easy enough. Naruto threw Burial away and started using Loose and Umbra to break the ice until Dagon decided to wake up and throw him off. Naruto then fell on top of a bed of ice spikes that had appeared as a result of the toad leaping into position. So much for the descendant of Sparta. I expected more from you, what a disappointing fight, Dagon said in a voice. Naruto walked through the bed of ice spikes from the side and remarked, you go well, that is what I call awake. Up Kala. After tearing out a spike from his shoulder, which healed in a matter of seconds, the Jinchuriki proceeded to injure his legs and, finally, his stomach, which was the largest. After calling forth Gilgamesh, Naruto ran at Dagon, who retaliated by launching ice crystals from his crown. I was feeling a bit empty inside, but now I will be satisfied by kicking your asa. You will be fun to play with now, Dagona, Naruto said. The Sparta dodged the sharpened spikes by moving in a zigzag pattern before jumping into the air and exclaiming, real impact. Naruto then charged his leg until it turned black and yelled, Blackjack, into Dagon's face. After Dagon was flung backwards into the forest, Naruto chased after him and yelled, Flash Strike. Dagon was stunned by the blow, and Naruto then roared, Hyper Fist. He started to beat Dagon's face with a barrage of blinding punches before using Starfall to end the battle. When Naruto extended his hand to take Dagon's soul after it had turned into ice, the light transformed into twin tonfas. Smirking, Naruto remarked, Now this I like a lot. Okay, now to take the princess back to the campa again. The Sparta dispelled him after swiftly locating his clone. Okay, lady, let's go. He walked back through a cave while carrying her on his back. After several minutes of silence, Koyuki finally said, "How the hell do you keep finding me?" "Because Koyuki, it is my job. It doesn't matter how much you or I hate it, I will have an obligation to find you. I never forget a scent once I smelled it. Each human has a particular smell. You smell of fresh snow and rain. Sakura smelled of cherry blossoms. Sasuke smelled of smoke and tomatoes, and Kakashi smells of hay," replied Koyuki. "Well, you can drag me back if you like here, but all that I am going to do is act for the camera, and that is it. You got that?" "Hey, good. You need to practice more on your acting anyway." "What? Your acting is good, but you could make it a bit better if you actually bring out your soul. When I was watching your latest movie, I didn't feel anything at all, because when I saw your eyes, they beheld nothing at all but coldness," said Naruto. They looked down at the ground when they heard a train whistle and noticed that the train tracks had materialized, melted by chakra. "What is that?" the director asked as the train tracks continued through the film camp. He turned to the film crew and said, "Everyone, please hurry. You must get out of here quickly. You can't let them find you. It is not safe." Sandayu hurried over to the tracks and declared, "It is chakra. There is chakra running through the rails, melting the icia, which means that he is here." "Sandayu, where are you going?" the assistant director called as the former aide ran up the slope. When a light appeared ahead, Koyuki exclaimed, "It's our train." Naruto responded, "Train? What train?" When a massive mass of metal suddenly sped forward, shattering the icicles above, Naruto exclaimed, "Fuck my life," and started to run ahead of the train, with the object chugging at his heels. In desperation, Koyuki yelled, "We'll be run over." "No, we won't," demanded Naruto. "It is impossible." "Nothing is impossible. Look, there is no way that you can outrun that thing." "Will you shut the fuck up, woman? I am trying to focus on not getting us killed at the moment. Even if you try to run, it's pointless. It's over for us." "No, it ain't, lady. Even though the odds are not in our favor, I will not lie on my back and lament that it is over. You may be pessimistic about facing death in the face, but I will never give up," Naruto said as he fled. "H. Naruto exclaimed, startling Koyuki with his thrust. The Sparta said, "Time to take it up a notch. Hold on tight," as he changed into his devil form and his newfound speed appeared. Naruto leapt aside as the iron horse sped past them as they arrived at the exit. Breathing heavily, the two fell across the snowy terrain. She turned and let out a little gasp as she said, "I knew it's Dodo." Naruto stood up and laughed loudly, and Koyuki stared at him in wonder until a low voice said, "It's been a long time, Koyuki." Over the loudspeaker, Dodo said, "It's been 10 years. Come now, don't be shy. Let's see that beautiful face of yours." As Koyuki kept staring at him, a shot was heard, and the bullet ricocheted off the railing. Dodo's eyes narrowed as he turned to face Naruto, but then he turned to face the logs that crashed into the train's side. They all turned to see Sandayu standing at the top of the cliff with men wearing samurai armor. "There you have it, men. Our beloved princess is here to watch over us. With her at our side, victory is ours." The men cheered as Sandayu raised his sword and said, "Hear me, Dodo, we have waited a long time for this day of reckoning to come. Sandayu Osama and 50 loyal warriors stand before you to avenge our great fallen leader, Lord Susetsu. On this day, you will breathe no more." Nagale was told by Dodo, "I thought that you destroyed the last of the insurgents." "My apologies, we will get rid of them immediately." "No, with men such as these, there is little that they can understand but total annihilation." Dodo nodded as the samurai charged down to her, and Nagale made a hand signal that caused the train doors to open, revealing tiny holes. They then fired kunai at the charging men, bringing them down. When only Sandayu was standing upright with kunai in his body, Dodo laughed at the carnage. A final wave of kunai then came at him, but Sasuke's Fuma Shuriken saved him. After that, Sasuke hurled a kunai with an explosive tag attached, exploding the train's hull. Sakura then launched an avalanche with an explosive ball. The train made the decision to depart on the bridge, but Kakashi's detonation beneath the bridge nearly caused the train to collapse. Fortunately for Dodo, the train broke away from the others and departed the bridge. Before Sasuke could follow them, Kakashi stepped in front of them and remarked, "Wait, Sasuke, don't be so hasty." The film crew soon emerged and assisted with the dead and seriously injured. "Awfula," muttered Sakura. "That is what comes from never giving up. If they hadn't gone and stood up to Dodo, then none of this bloodshed would have happened." That is also what will happen to civilians, including women and children, if you don't confront Dodo and take the throne, Naruto replied. That forma, the one that you did when the train was coming, you have amazing power, why didn't you save them? Because it is their Bushido to die for what they believe. Enemy saving them is denying that honor from them and spitting in their faces that they are weak and inconsiderate. You say that what Sandayu and his men did was foolish, well, it was, but at least they have the guts to stand up to do what is right, unlike you. Koyuki knelt beside the men as they carried a barely conscious Sandayu on a stretcher. My princess. Forgive me, I should have never gotten you involved with this. It's just that every single one of us were able to believe, in spite of everything, because we knew you were alive. When you were little and even now, you will always be. Just as I, the loyal Sandayu, believed. So too you must believe in yourself. You have always been our purest hope, princess. Please do not waste your tears on me. And Sandayu Asama, a devoted servant of the, gave up his life. Koyuki said, you are such a fool, Sandayu. I can't cry. You have my eye drops. The Jinchuriki closed the samurai's eyes as Naruto knelt by Sandayu and said, may you have a safe journey to the afterlife, Sandayu Asama, or squeeze cat and pace. He was not speaking to you, Koyuki. He was speaking to your soul, trapped in the ice crystal that you made. That soul is crying out for the loss of her most trusted friend, even though you are not showing it at all. Naruto was thinking to himself. Are you all satisfied? Let's go back. If you stay here, your lives will be in jeopardy. Let's just go home. The Sparta scoffed at her disdainfully. You inconsiderate stupid bitch, this is your home. Plus you know the only way to let Dodo leave you alone is to die or to fight. You won't fight, but you will ruin and he will follow you to the edge of hell and drag you back by your hair, just so he can kill you. You know absolutely nothing. A spring doesn't come to this country, our tears are frozen over and our hearts are hardened with the cold. Sakura responded, but you have the power to change that outlook. At least Sandayu believed in that and you just spit on his grave. You haven't shed even one tear for this amazing man because you were afraid to die. The princess yelled, I have had enough of this nonsense. The girl screamed, leave me alone, as Naruto sighed and stepped in front of her. Then, she gasped at what she saw behind him, and Naruto turned to see a blimp with Mizore, who had a good view of Koyuki. As Fubuki threw kunai with blue orbs attached, his hand gripped her waist firmly and carried her on the blimp. Shida, cursed Kakashi as they ducked under the exploding kunai, which formed structures resembling ice trees. Sakura, where is Naruto? Sasuke asked after landing on one of them. Sakura turned to face the vanishing blimp and said, I think he's on the blimp now. It's fortunate he gave me a tracker seal in case we got separated. Kakashi told his two genin, be ready for a long battle. That Naruto, always thinking ahead. Okay, we will rescue Koyuki at night. Blimp. You have gotten beautiful, Koyuki. Tell me, do you still have the hex crystal? Dodo responded. Yes. Good. It is the sole remaining link to the Kazuhana clan and the key to opening its treasure. Curiosity prompted her to ask, a key? To what? When ye wrested the kingdom from your father's hands, the Kazuhana clan's resources were all but gone. I knew that Susetsu must have hidden his treasure somewhere, so I searched and then I finally found it, hidden deep with the Rainbow Glacier. There is a keyhole there which can be opened only by the hex crystal. Once I get possession of the Kazuhana fortune, our country can obtain military superiority over the 5 great nations. Koyuki and Dodo turned to face Naruto, who was leaning against the wall with his arms crossed, as a voice said, sure thing, pal, that is a nice little plan you got there, but you forget one thing. You? Exclaimed Koyuki, startled. Yes, I am Naruto in you area. How on earth did you get on here? Amazing, isn't it? This little baby works wonders and helped me get on your little Hindenburg here. Koyuki gasped as Naruto uncrossed his arms to reveal the Devil Bringer. Then, a moment later, Snow Ninja appeared, and Naruto raised his hands in surrender, saying, I surrender. What happened to all that talk about not giving up? Nagale said, forgive me, my lord, as you see. Naruto Sparta was a bit of a handful. Suddenly, an elevator emerged, revealing several Narutos who had given themselves up to Fubuki. I'm Noda, but do you expect me to kill everyone on this blimp and figure out how the hell to drive this thing? I would be sending you and me to our deaths, therefore this situation is not in my favor. Dodo asked with a laugh, so he knows the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu? Speaking up, Mizore said, I can tell you this, his chakra is pretty powerful. Nagale laughed. What do you think? Maybe we should try that contraption out on him. Dodo replied, Hama, he would make for an interesting test subject. Why'd I get the feeling that I am not going to like that smirk at all? Asked the Jinchuriki. Nagale went to a drawer and removed a tiny gear-like mechanism before approaching Naruto. After separating the components, he created a blue electrical connection between them. He twisted it after placing it on Naruto's stomach. The device extracted tiny wires that resembled tentacles and inserted them into Naruto's abdomen to drain his chakra. Naruto yelled, "Arg!" as lightning sped through his body. "What is that?" "We're cleansing him of his chakra. The prototype device will absorb any chakra within his body and bind it into a barrier. Once activated, it can't be broken or destroyed no matter what." After he collapsed to his knees, Naruto smirked at him before passing out. Dodo held out his hand and said, "Now Thena, I will take the hex crystal if you don't mind." After Koyuki untied the necklace, he handed it to Dodo, who grinned before scowling and asking, "What is this?" "This is not a game. You think that I don't know that it's a fake?" he yelled, grabbing his niece by the collar. When Koyuki realized that only one person could accomplish such a feat, she exclaimed, "What? But that is impossible. Hitaki Kakashiya." "What? Of course he." Nagale replied, "Kakashi is a shrewd one. I wouldn't put it past him to make a bait and switch." "Don't even worry about it. We will go out and round it up in no time," Fubuki said in a seductive tone. Dodo laughed as he crushed the fake hex crystal in his hand and said, "No, that won't be necessary. Why even bother if the man will show up on his own for the princess and his little subordinate? That is why the little brat came up here. He must have a tracker seal on him. All we have to do is wait until then." Naruto was shackled by his arms with heavy chains at Kazuhana Fortress, also known as Snow Prison. Well, quite a predicament that I am in. It is almost nighttime, so Kakashi Sensei should be making their move. I got to do is wait until she comes. Eventually, two snow ninja led Koyuki to her cell, which was across from Naruto's. "Serves you right," she said, turning to face him after sitting and embracing her knees. "HMPH, look who's talking. I know. So you want to tell me, what did you mean when you said that there is no spring?" Replied, "You will see when the spring comes, Koyuki. That is what my father told me when I was a little girl. He made me imagine spring, a field surrounded by flowers with me running through it. He told me if that I never gave up, if I believed it, then spring would come, but this land has no spring at all. My father died. I fled from Yukigakure and stopped believing. I began to run and lie to others, but mostly I was lying to myself. My life is one big charade, and becoming an actress was the only thing that I was cut off for this world." Naruto replied, "My turn. One thing you should about me is that I was not well liked in my own village because of a burden that I carried. Nobody cared for me. I had no parents and they shunned me. I tried to blow it off and play cool, but it still hurt inside. I used to think that I didn't have anywhere to belong to, but eventually I made friends. I kept at it and never gave up. Good things happened to me over the months. When you give up, your dreams and everything else are gone. Your father and Sandeu. I am going to make sure that you see that they weren't wrong." The Jinchuriki started using his strength to break his bonds before collapsing to the ground. Naruto went to the bars and grabbed them, only to be shocked by them. "Kakashi Sensei and the others will be here soon, so I got to get you ready to move." "Son of a," Naruto yelled, "your uncle may be an asshole, but he is a smart one. Looks like I will have to play dead for a while. Get some rest. We have a big night ahead of us," he said as he lay on his back. The tyrant grinned and remarked, Kakashi, so you are here at last and right on time." Later, in the dead of night, there is an explosion, and an informant approaches Dodo to kneel in front of him and declare, "We are under attack." One of the snow ninja at the prison saw Naruto on the ground as they hurried upstairs to battle the intruders. He asked himself, how did he get out? After removing the door's seal and unlocking it, he and his companion hurried to him. As he knocked out the two, Naruto exclaimed, "Surprise, time to go. Koyuki." Koyuki grinned a little before Naruto released his and then Koyuki's bonds. Naruto ran to the warden's office, who was examining them curiously, and said, "Come on, I got to get my gunsa." Naruto yelled, "Oi, my pistols," and punched him in the face, sending the warden reeling backward in his chair and knocked out. When a snow ninja appeared as the two ran across the bridge, he holstered his guns and said, "Okay, time to get to the elevator, going up." The Jinchuriki then grinned and said, "Good to see you, Kakashiya." The Jonin said, "I apologize for keeping you two waiting. Are you okay, princess?" "Yeah. You took my hex crystal and switched with a fake without telling, didn't you?" Kakashi took it out of his pocket and handed it to her, saying, "Yeah, sorry. But I figure that it was what Dodo was after." Koyuki whispered, "All for this little thinga. This place is filled with guards," exclaimed Sakura as they heard moans behind him. "This why," Koyuki said. "The princess fled, and Kakashi moved as he yelled, "Wait!" The female Yuki ninja said, "Hello, boy Toya. Are you ready to be dominated?" Dodo laughed, "Well, Donia Koyuki." The princess led the team into a room, and the female ninja said, "Sorry, sister, but he is mine." Fubuki scowled. "Then it looks like that I have to kill you to get to him." She grabbed her boyfriend's balls and said, "As well as this Tonto here." Naruto grinned and said, "And if you do that, you got me and her fellow sisters to deal with, lady." After passing the crystal to her uncle, Koyuki turned to face Team 7. "This shouldn't be a surprise to any of you. After all, I am an actress, aren't I?" Dodo said. "There you have it, another brilliant performance from the great Yukie Fujikaze." After a slight scowl from Naruto, Koyuki responded, "Yes, it was all an acta," before releasing Sandayu's Tonto and stabbing Dodo with it. Koyuki yelled, "I told you, didn't I? I'm an actress." Dodo moaned. The Jinchuriki muttered, "Well, I didn't see that coming at all." Dodo had Koyuki's throat in his hands and said, "Why you? I always knew, Naruto, that I was going to die if I ever returned to the land of snow. At least I coulda." "Koyuki, don't you dare die on me now," said Naruto. "It is thanks to you, Naruto, that I could stop running away until the end." "No, don't you get it? You are running away by throwing away your life like this. Then everything that your father and Sandayu had sacrificed their lives for would be for nothing." "I am sorry, a father, a Sandayu," Koyuki muttered as she and Dodo fell over the edge and onto the floor. Naruto rushed to Koyuki, but Dodo knocked him back. When Dodo untied his robe and saw that the knife had only slightly damaged his chakra armor rather than piercing him, he asked, "You really thought you could kill me with this little toy?" "That is right. It is chakra armor, our latest prototype," he said. As Koyuki gasped for breath, Dodo caught her by the waist and said, "You are wasting your time. Every ounce of your chakra has been sucked away. You are powerless." As Koyuki struggled and struck Dodo's leg, the tyrant yelled, "Come, let us go, Koyuki, beyond the rainbow." Koyuki's eyes were filled with rage as she turned to face her uncle before the ceiling collapsed. Naruto launched a kunai with a rope attached and also went up, but Dodo had a line shot upward to lift him and Koyuki into the air. The Konoha ninja jumped away from the collapsing building, and the Yuki ninjas followed suit. Dodo cut the string, causing Naruto to fall, after realizing that he was still hanging on as he released his wings. "Damn it," he said, getting up after hearing Koyuki yell his name as he fell through the trees. "I'm going to kick Dodo's ass twice as hard now." "Hop up," the director exclaimed abruptly. Naruto grinned and said, "Thanks, old man." Rainbow glaciers. After landing, Dodo and Koyuki remarked, "This is it, we have come here after all, I guess." Dodo grabbed the hex crystal and turned on the key, causing the gears to spin while grinning ominously. Forest. Sasuke and Sakura sidestepped the well. "No nice." Explosive kunai as they dashed through the forest. "Sakura, how close are they?" the Uchiha inquired. Replied, "Hold on a second, I got it, 20 degrees left in 5 seconds, 30 meters ahead. You want to aim for that branch." Screaming, "Got it?" Sasuke hurled the ninja wire at the branch. "Give it up, it's useless," exclaimed Mizore, racing in Sakura's direction. Sakura stood up, lifted her cape, and revealed a kunai with bags. "It's payback time, I owe you a beating from last time." The kunai and bags burst into tiny slips of paper as she started tossing them. Mizore sneered at her, saying, "Come on, don't make me laugh." Sakura thought, a slow smirk creeping up her face, "That is right, you pathetic cybernetic Hulk. Keep underestimating me." Unable to see, Mizore leapt from his board to examine the paper. He noticed that one of them was a miniature explosive tag when it fell on his arm. Sakura shouted, "Sakura Fubuki no Jutsu! In duel!" and hurled her kunai at his feet, setting off an explosion. Fubuki's wings were broken when she was forced into the ninja wire that Sasuke had erected by the same explosion. "You are dealing with the Yuki ninja here, it will take a lot more than that just to bring us down," she yelled as she jumped away after righting herself and using a kunai to cut the wire. "You are probably right, Ashishi Renden," said Sasuke, who emerged behind her. The Uchiha used his taijutsu combo, sending Fubuki to the ground, and Mizore coughed as he emerged from the smoke and saw Fubuki approaching him. When the two collided, purple electricity erupted from their source. "What happened?" Sasuke asked after another explosion. "I think that when they collided, their chakra armor sources short-circuited when they touched." Sasuke jumped away and said, "Our job is done here then, let's go and help Naruto before he gets himself killed." The question that Nagale asked Kakashi was, "Well, now Kakashi, are you sure that you are not going to run this time around? It doesn't look like I have much of a choice, do I?" But at least I can show you one of my original techniques, replied Kakashi. Rakery! Kakashi exclaimed as the two Jonin went through hand signals. A familiar ball of lightning appeared in his hand, crackling, and Nagale remarked, Hyuden. Ruga Nadare no Jutsu. The avalanche transformed into wolves, and Kakashi ran, surprising Nadare by jumping over them. How did you? As he approached Nadare, a wolf blocked the Konoha Jonin's path. Kakashi yelled, Eat this, and used his jutsu to break through the wolf and Nadare's chakra shield, causing his chakra armor to shatter. As the avalanche engulfed them, Nadare remarked, HMPH, you almost had me Tharia. What? Nadare asked as a hand grabbed him from behind. Even though you can block a ninja's ninjutsu and genjutsu, he still has taijutsu. You relied too much on this armor, Kakashi told him. After Kakashi released him at the last second, Nadare struggled in vain and his head was crushed on the rocks. After examining his opponent's body, the Sharingan wielder said, and that takes care of him, now for Dotoa. Rainbow Glacier. Doto retreated while he frantically searched for the treasure, asking, Where is it? Where is the treasure? Water poured from different places, hissing noises were produced, and the frozen ground started to melt. Koyuki remarked, It's so warm. What is this? A heat generator? This is the hidden treasure of the Kazahana family. Princess. The princess exclaimed, Naruto, as Doto and Koyuki turned to see Naruto running toward them. Doto snarled as he flipped through hand signals, Hyuden. Kokuya. Bafa, Setsu. He swung out his fist, and a black dragon that resembled ether suddenly materialized and smashed into Naruto, sending him flying. With a gasp, Koyuki exclaimed, Naruto. The Jinchuriki plummeted from the sky and struck the ground, face first, barely breaking the ice. After hearing Naruto laugh, Doto grinned and said, What's wrong? I barely felt a thing back there now. Naruto, please that is enough. If you don't stop now, he is going to kill you. As his dormant power started to break through the barrier, he exclaimed, Trust me, Koyuki. It will take a demon to kill me. If you just have a bit of faith in me, I will not lose this battle. After Doto told him, What? How Isa is it possible that the chakra is leaking out somehow? He became enraged and bit his thumb, saying, Kachiyose no Jutsu. Naruto's eyes widened as a burst of smoke appeared, revealing that Doto was now standing atop a Demona, a three-headed dog covered in ice with 3 collars around his necks, to be exact. This is Cerberus, the Ice Guardiana, and he is a demon. We keep control of him with this collar of his. Now, you little pest, it is time for you to die. Well, it saves me the trouble of looking for him. This is brilliant. 3 ice devil arms on 1 mission. Can my life get any better? Wait, it can't by letting me kick your ass, come on. Cerberus, attack this fool. I don't want to see a piece of him at all on this snow. As Doto watched from a distance, a kunai was hurled at his back. After Sakura and Sasuke moved forward, Doto remarked, You too. With a growl, Naruto turned to face the 3-headed dog. The blue-eyed head threw out an ice ball as Cerberus snarled, Wow, you are a big fella, aren't ya? It swiveled to the green-eyed head after Naruto used Burial to cut it in half once more. The Sparta moved between the icicles, and the Cerberus changed to the red-eyed one and breathed ice on Naruto, freezing him in place. Okay, blue shoot out ice ball Sagrina, concluded Naruto, feeling a chill in the air and looking up as he finished. Summons big-ass icicles from the sky. Naruto thought, Son of a bitcha, I can't move ya. With a shout, Cerberus knocked Naruto aside with a paw. Ice crystals pierced Naruto's body as the 3-headed dog stomped on the ground. Cerberus gave the ice crystals a questioning glance before Naruto unleashed his devil trigger and then defeated Dagon with a roar. I don't have time to play with you, Leviathan, he said, stepping in front of Cerberus. The Tonfa's evil mouth opened to blast Cerberus with cold water, immobilizing the green-eyed creature. The Jinchuriki then destroyed it with a roundhouse kick. Tiamat. The orange Tonfa howled in agony as the other Tonfa's demonic head in his left hand opened its mouth to release a blast of burning water. As he yelled, Rehab, Naruto paused to raise the head. The collar was broken off after the head was fatally bludgeoned. Cerberus roared and changed into a light ball before transforming into a tripartite nunchaku. Thank you for freeing me, descendant of Sparta. Now take my soul and go forth. You have my blessing, Cerberus said. Good, now to deal with Dotoa. Naruto reverted to his former form and turned to face the battle. While Doto was busy fighting off Sakura and Sasuke, he managed to knock Sakura away, but Kakashi caught her. Doto's armor was shattered and the ball of lightning screeched like an eagle as Sasuke ran at him and yelled, Chidori. The tyrant then punched Sasuke away, allowing Kakashi and Sakura to capture him. Dodo sneered and asked, "Did you think that your puny little jutsu would have an effect on me?" Before he collapsed to the ground, Sasuke remarked, "Naruto, his armor has been fractured, the rest is up to you." Naruto glared at Dodo after saying, "Thanks, Sasuke. All right, I had about enough with you. Now it's time for you to pay with a little insurance as well. You're still alive. Fine, come on, you little halfwit. Hayatan. Sariya, Ba-fa, Setsu. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." When the horde of clones ran to confront Dodo's jutsu, they were ensnared in a black tornado, which ultimately destroyed them. "It's a Vera, finally this ridiculous little farce is over. Ha 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 ha." Dodo exclaimed as Koyuki looked down. After a moment, she turned to look behind Dodo. "Not yet, I told you, Dodo. You are going to pay, like I said before, every story has got to have a happy ending." Naruto yelled as Dodo turned to face him. Koyuki then got up and yelled, "Naruto, I believe in you. You are, by far, the strongest ninja that I have ever known." I could have told you that," Naruto exclaimed as he charged Dodo while holding the Rasengan and his Devil Bringer activated. He was unaware that the Rainbow Chakra enhanced his attack and that his Rasengan was absorbing some of it. Sakura exclaimed in admiration of her boyfriend, Rainbow Chakra, just like in the movie. Naruto vanished and reappeared behind Dodo as she swung at him. It was too late when Dodo turned to try to hit him again. "Take this, Rainbow Rasengan," Dodo cried out in agony as the jutsu struck him with all of its powerful strength. Dodo flew back into one of the glaciers and it smashed like glass as it slammed into his chest and totally destroyed his shield. The assistant director exclaimed, "Huh? What the?" The director responded, "Wait a minute, could this be we are making this movie in 3D? Koyuki glanced around at the sudden change in scenery, and then she heard her father say, "Believe in the future, and if you do, the spring will surely come." "What will you do when it comes, Koyuki?" her father asked, and the princess looked up to see a huge projection of herself. "I am going to become a princess," was the response from the younger version of herself. "Oh, what kind of princess?" Let's see, one who's strong and who's kinda, and most of all, one who fights for justice." "That is some dreamer," her father said with a loud laugh. Koyuki asked herself, Did I really say those things?" Her father went on, "Well, as long as you believe in your dream and never give up, one day you will be that princess." Susetsu then materialized in the projection, then put his hands on her shoulders and said, "You can see it, can't you? There is a beautiful princess standing right there in front of you." At her father's words, Koyuki's heart warmed up and she started crying. Susetsu said, "Really? What's that?" After hearing her younger self say, "But I have sort of a problem, there is something else that I want to be. An actress." The young Koyuki exclaimed joyfully as she turned to face her father. Her father asked, "What?" before he burst out laughing. In addition to crying happy tears, the elder Koyuki started to laugh. After landing on the bed of flowers, Naruto looked up and said, Now this is definitely a happy ending, time to go night-night." The following week, Koyuki was sworn in as the daimyo of the land of snow, spring, and Naruto and Team 7 defeated the Yuki ninja. Koyuki remarked, "That generator was not even fully developed in the end. I guess it will be back to winter soon." Not really, if we take what we know and continue researching, before you know it, the land of snow will become the land of spring. Sakura responded, "Yeah, but it is kind of a shamiya, you are such a big star. You're really going to retire from acting." "Who said I was retiring? I believe I can manage both acting and ruling over the land of snow. I mean, I would have to be insane to give it up now." "That script." Kakashi pointed to it as he spoke. "All right, I'll see you." As Koyuki left Team 7 and entered a crowd of children yelling for autographs, she gave in and started signing them. "I am sure that you can be able to handle them both, Koyuki." Naruto grinned. As he handed him an envelope, Sasuke said, "Oh, Naruto. Here, Koyuki gave me this to give you. That script she is perfect." "Well, what do you know?" Kakashi asked. As he removed it from his friend's hand and they all examined it, Naruto uttered those words. As he gazed at the actress, the Sparta remarked, "Well, this picture I am definitely going to put in my scrapbook." The photo showed Naruto and Koyuki in a lip lock at the Rainbow Glaciers, and Sakura was a little envious, while Kakashi blushed. He glanced at the actress, who blushed and waved back when he smiled at her. Sakura remarked, "That is unfair. She absolutely did." Naruto kissed her to silence her, and then he said, "You were saying?" "What was the question? I apologize," she responded numbly. Kabuto Yakushi, meanwhile, was in a lot of pain in an underground base, and the strange thing about it was that he was laughing about it. He closed his hands and flexed them, thinking to himself, I have finally done Ida. With Naruto. Kun's blood coursing through my veins and Orochimaru's integrated salsa, I will be unstoppable, he said, punching a wall close by until it cracked under pressure and collapsed. The white-haired ninja looked at the elaborate seals on the floor and the corpses of inmates who, generously, sacrificed themselves to achieve his objectives. Now my vengeance begins. As he slammed both of his palms into the ground, Kabuto yelled. The seal turned into a deep red light as it absorbed the blood of the prisoners and their bodies, and soon after, one by one, shadows emerged from it. He grinned, thanks to the journal that Orochimaru kept, these men will be very good business partners. The first person to appear was a bald man dressed like a priest, with a burn mark on one side of his face that almost gave him life. What was most startling about this figure was that he had Tenten's eyes, but with a malicious tint. His name was Arkham. The next person to emerge was a tall, pale man named Arius who was dressed like a bureaucrat and exuded a demonic aura. A lesser demon named Sid was standing next to the businessman. He had a burn mark on the side of his face and loose eyes. Two more figures soon emerged from the runic symbols. A fair-skinned, slightly hunched man wearing monocles and an elderly man dressed in vicar's clothing. In that order, the names of this pair were Sanctus and Anus, respectively. What is this place? Arkham asked, surveying the area. In response, Kabuto said, this is the human world, a dimension that is somewhat less developed than the one you are accustomed to. Here, humans possess a strong essence known as chakra, which they can use to develop bloodlines or jutsu. Demons can be subdued by certain bloodlines. You have all faced a common enemy in your quest for power, and I need your assistance to stand with me against them. The Spardasa, said Anus. Kabuto nodded, that's right, Arkham and Sid, you two will cooperate to defeat Virgil. I need us all to work together to defeat the Spartas, who are all still alive, by the way. Nero Sparta will be dealt with by you two, Sanctus and Anus. For my part, I'll deal with Dante, and together, we'll deal with Naruto Uzumaki, his successor. Since he is a part of this world and has received training from all three of them in their respective arts, we must use all of our abilities to defeat him. Why should we trust you, Kabuto? Sanctus retorted. Because your only chance to defeat your adversaries is me. I just want to exact revenge on Naruto Sparta for killing my master, and I don't mind if you all follow your own paths to power. I would never have become this powerful without him, even though I guess I also owe him gratitude. After a brief pause, Arkham said, we will need more people in case this doesn't work. Without a doubt, the Sparta also gained allies in this world. Don't worry, I've got that covered, Kabuto grinned. With a snap of his fingers, a few people emerged from the darkness to welcome the five. May I introduce Guren, Raiga Kurasuki, Kimonero Kagaya, Kakuzua and my revived subordinates, Sakin, Yukon, Jirobo, Kidamaru, Danzo Shimura, Hizashi Hyuga, Hanzo the Salamander, Amayuri Ringo, Tadawaki, Pakura, Manjetsu Hazuka. Then we are in business, gentlemen, Sid smiled. Let's create mayhem. It seems that my power has been waning down a lot on that last mission, Naruto said in Konoha. It took me longer than usual to defeat Cerberus, and you only needed roughly 3 minutes, whereas I needed 10. For a moment, Virgil closed his eyes and said, in his characteristic icy drawl, it is very possible that your parents actually caused this to happen for you. What do you mean, Virgil? When you defeat a real devil and transform his soul into a devil arm, the devil's soul gradually shifts its wavelength to coincide with your own. It is currently taking you a little longer to get used to any new devil arms because your wavelength has so many of them attached to it. I see, so then I better take my time in collecting the others, I take it, the Jinchuriki retorted. That is correct. Well, then I better up the ante on my training then. After saying this in a somber manner, Naruto immediately headed to the training grounds to use his WMDs. The Badojutsu practitioner's icy gray eyes narrowed as he thought, this window something is wrong. Terribly wrong, and I have a distinct feeling that we are at the center of it. Virgil looked up at the sky, and a strong breeze blew through the village. Later, as Naruto was returning home, the Jinchuriki exclaimed, what the hell is going on? As the ground shook. When he looked up at the forest of death, a loud boom erupted from the center, destroying the small tower and replacing it with a larger stone tower that towered menacingly over the village. What the fuck is that? Ah, shish. T believed that we had already dealt with that dreadful tower years ago. As he approached his fellow devil, Dante said, what is this tower? Naruto responded, the Temen.ni. Grua. Kasumi murmured as the Namikaze household's occupants soon emerged. The Temen. What? The Temen.ni.gru was a holy tower built by those who worshipped Mundus, the Biju woman said, turning to her lover. Many years ago, soon after rebelling against Mundus, Sparta found this tower and decided to seal it away with his blood, his power, and the blood of a pure priestess. Dante took over, saying, Virgil and a sick jerk named Arkham roused the tower just as I was beginning to open my shop. In order to awaken the tower, Arkham had to play around to get all of us together. Dear older brother wanted to claim dear old dad's power, and Arkham naturally wanted the same thing. Virgil spoke as he approached, saying, Arkham played us for fools and manipulated us to awaken the tower and got our father's power, but in the end, we defeated him despite him having our father's power. But who was the pure priestess? Sakura asked. We are aware that you both possess the strength and blood of Sparta, but what about the pure priestess? Lady was a descendant of a priestess and Arkham used her for that purpose. In response to Virgil's statement, Naruto swore, Shita. Tentina, was the only thought that remained in his head as he hurried through the village. After returning from a mission with her team, Tenten was attempting to ignore the flames of Yude's irrational outbursts from Lee and Guy. I really don't know how much more I can take without shooting them, Neji. Gritting her teeth, she spoke. Trust me. Silently responding, the feeling is mutual, but just do what I do, hum a song in your head or imagine yourself beating the crap out of the both of them. Before a red barrier encircled them, Tenten grinned and chuckled a little at the idea. Oh Shita. Tenten's eyes widened. Multiple blood goils materialized as she spoke the words. What the hell are these things? Tenten touched a seal on the back of her neck as Neji yelled in shock. These are demons and specifically they are called blood goils to be clearer. Tenten's brown eyes changed from the heterochromatic red and blue. Tenten continued after thinking, but typically those kinds of demons are settled in Iwagakure. Why are they here, then? So this Barira it is just like your fight with Naruto-san, am I right? Neji asked, turning to face Tenten. Yes, so I need you guys to stay back or else you guys might get hurt. Tenten opened her weapons and answered. She then acrobatically pulled out her guns and shot every blood goil in her path, only to curse when she realized that she was actually causing them to reproduce asexually rather than destroying them. Alright, guns don't cut it, but what about sharp objects then? As she charged quickly and threw shuriken at the blood-filled gargoyles, Tenten thought to herself. She smirked as she removed Kalina Ann to shoot a missile at them to destroy them after the shuriken struck them, turning them to stone. Well, that was exhilarating. Ahema, shall we then? Tenten laughed wearily. Tenten was followed by the rest of Team Guy, who gave her a stupid nod until a loud shot went through her shoulder. Tenten let out a cry of agony as she hit the floor, but a man grabbed her and slung her over his shoulder. We got what we came for, cover our escape. Tenten. Guy yelled as the man spoke, and a pack of Masira materialized. Guy's path was blocked by the Masira, but he kicked the one in his way viciously, sending it sprawling to the ground. Neji and Lee acted fiercely in response to Guy's cry of indignation, attacking the monkey. Like demons. However, they were soon encircled, and a barrage of bullets fell upon the Masiras like brimstone and fire. Where is Tenten? Naruto asked, kneeling on the ground and brandishing his weapons. Some mysterious guy took her, what is going on here? A Masira stood up and gave Naruto a shaky look before saying, Greetings, descendant of Sparta. That voice, I know it. Kabuto, so you are behind all of this then? Said Naruto, narrowing his eyes. Naturally, you killed my mentor despite ruining my opportunity to learn all of his skills. Therefore, I will take my time destroying you and your friends. How did you know how to resurrect the Temen.ni.gru? You see, I have taken something that is valuable to you, and you must return it by any means necessary, but you will be the leader. I don't. That accomplishment is given by Arkham. I believe that this should be passed down to the younger generation, so no Dante, Virgil, or Nero. Then I'll see you, Kukakukuku. I will play this game with you, Kabuto, and when I win, I am going to make sure you die and you will pay for what you have done. Naruto snarled angrily as he shot the Masira. Let's go back to Konoha, I'll have to explain everything there, he said, turning to Team Guy. The Rookie 9, Team Guy, Jiraiya, and the Hokage, their senseis, later appeared at the Namikaze compound. Tsunade thought about it, so only you guys can get through the barriers to get our shinobi back? Naruto nodded and said, that's right. It isn't common knowledge to know all of this, but based on what Kabuto said through that demon, I'm wondering how in the world he managed to bring back Arkham and all of Dante, Nero, and Virgil's former enemies without their bodies. Grumbled Nero, it is most likely that Kabuto had help from a high-ranking demon that wants revenge against us. I just can't believe that we have to sit here and do nothing to help out at all. After a brief period of silence, Virgil said, maybe not. The only way for your friends to make it through this ordeal is for you to give them each a devil arm, Naruto. We will have to train them to use them to the fullest. Then we have no time to lose, Virgil said in response to the youngest Sparta. Before any harm is done, we must bring them up to speed. After that, he grinned and said, and I know just the place. Where? Where else than hell itself? Your friend's fate rests with this decision. Are you all up to the task? Virgil asked to them as he opened a portal. Do you all would like to do this? Naruto asked, turning to face his teammates, Team Guy, Team 10, and Team 8. I think I speak for all of us, Naruto, said Sasuke as he approached, but we are with you all the way. You have done a lot to help this village and us as an extension. It's time to repay the favor now. I'm in. Sakura came up next to him and said, as I am. Grinning, Shoji said, let's go. While Shikamaru smirked slightly, Ino nodded and said, troublesome. Yosh, yelled Lee. Come, let's go rescue Tenten. We have wasted enough time, let's get out of here, Neji said, crossing his arms. Dante laughed, then it is settled. Let's ride through the gates of hell. In order to prepare for the battle against the demons that Kabuto unleashed, the Spartas, Rookie 9, and Team Guy entered the portal of hell.
That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this great story. See you in the next one.